We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Imagine what would have happened if we hadn't attracted the magic we had back when we couldn't fathom life is a fantasy, not with the vanity, not the way it was back then. So I grab my pen and write it down like a scripture. Mr. Mystic, making hits for the misfits. The show where you don't know what you don't know when it's on again with Sean and Jonathan.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today we have a very special first-time guest. Really excited about this conversation. Welcome to the show, Nichole Duncan. How are you doing tonight?
Great. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yes.
I feel like I'm in good company.
We try to be, we try and make it as awesome as possible and as inviting as possible as well, because there's really not too much that we're not open to. We're kind of just going about the nature of this reality, trying to figure out what the truth is about everything. And I think that the truth is, kind of stranger than fiction, man. Anyway, dude, it's out there. Like, we thought that we lived in this mundane reality where you just, maybe you go to school and then you go to college, you meet the love of your life, you settle down, you work this job, and that's just the highlight of your life. But seems like this reality has a lot more in store for those who are open to interpreting it and seeing it for something different than what we originally thought.
100% couldn't agree more, but it's been like in the best way. It has been in the best way. I feel like because of it, I have found like my life's purpose, and I've way more zenned out. I'm way more nice. And the things that I've seen has just like blown my mind in a way, whereas like Muggle Nichole would have like never in a million years ever. I would never guess I'm sitting right here right now.
No, it's so funny. It's so funny that you say Muggle Nichole, because that's what we call everybody who's like still kind of asleep. That's just the Muggles.
Yeah, totally.
And it's not that they're incapable of going beyond their Muggleness. It's just that, I feel like a lot of them just don't want to. And maybe it's because of whatever kind of upbringing they had, and maybe, a lot of this kind of stuff is heretical to, their beliefs and thought systems and whatnot. But man, for those who can start to see the strange things that are going on, whether it's the orbs or being able to see without your eyes or the psychics that are just coming out en masse right now, it is just absolutely stunning. And
it is.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's so wild. This is all like somewhat relatively new to me. Like when I was a kid, I would have dreams, or I would be under street lights and they would just like turn off or they flicker. And I thought that was like all normal. But it wasn't until we moved out to the farm, maybe about a year and a half ago. We moved out to a farm. My nervous system's totally at rest. And then all of a sudden I meet Angela Ford, and then I have like dead people coming to talk to me, and they're not at all what I thought it would ever be like. Like I would not go on the Disneyland ride, like the haunted house. Terrified.
Yeah. That's something that, I've been trying to wrap my own brain around in that, because we feel like we've been trying to develop our own psychic abilities, and maybe that's through meditation or just thoughtfulness and just trying to go inside, and rather than, trying to just only look at the world for its outer shell that everybody else perceives. And one thing, over the weekend, so I do past life regressions, and over the weekend, I hypnotized two people and sent them to past lives, and both of them were just amazed and in awe of what they were there to experience. But they both said, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Like, 100%. And so I think that so many people build up these mystical kind of magical psychic kind of things in our mind to kind of emulate maybe what we see in movies and TV shows or maybe stories that we heard, but it never really comes off the way we always thought it was going to. Is that something that you kind of experienced?
150%. The first time I had somebody who had passed come to me, and it had to be this way. I'm like, there's no coincidences. It had to be the most kind, loving, warm homemaker. It was my old next door neighbor, and I didn't even know it was her, but she came across so loving and nurturing. And it's like she made me feel like she was baking cookies from scratch. And I knew immediately where she was from, what she had passed from. But the way that she made me feel was so contrary to anything I would ever think about somebody like this making me feel, right? You see Hollywood, there's fear-based, all kinds of fear-based rhetoric, and it just gets, ingrained in our culture. And so when you think about having somebody from the other side come through, you have your preconceived notions, which is 100% fear-based for me. But the reality of it was that I've never experienced more love. I've never experienced more just like joy and happiness and like fulfillment that it just was the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be, for sure.
And so this is like a feeling that is coming through for you, or like how would
Yeah.
you describe the experience of something coming to you and you
Yeah.
noticing it?
Okay, it varies. So the first time that my old neighbor came through, that was one of two times in the last year and a half that somebody came through without me being open, like without me trying to connect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's definitely started as more feeling based. The way that she made me feel nurturing and homemakery, and just kind of like a grandma that you just like want to hug, and was like wearing an apron sort of thing. But I also got visuals. Like I saw a picture of a glass with like a vase with beachcombing supplies, like glasses and shells. And I knew instantly that she liked to beachcomb. And what was interesting was the first time this ever happened, the feeling and then the visuals. When I looked up her obituary, it said her favorite pastime was beachcombing.
What?
Oh.
Yes, I know. And that's how it started. I was like, oh, dang, like this is crazy.
So when you say you get these visuals, were you like in a meditative state, or was it just kind of out of nowhere, kind of just out in front of you and you're seeing this thing, or like can you describe that?
Every other time I have to focus or get in a meditative state, or if I'm doing a reading, I just kind of have to calm my mind and then I'll get information. But that particular time I was just waking up in the morning. So I was like coming out of my like REM sleep or whatever it is. I'm not fully awake.
Right.
Yep. And then she came in like she lived here. I mean, it was super clear, and it was fascinating. It changed everything.
So is it more than, so you're actually seeing it? Like all right, so we kind of all understand that the nature of our reality is somewhat of an illusion, for a lack of a better word, or the Maya, whatever you want to call it.
For sure.
But are you seeing it within the world, or is it kind of an image or like a video that is playing in the same realm as like maybe a thought would or a memory would?
It depends. There is like a method to the madness, but how I explain it, I don't think I do a very good job explaining it. If I could transfer a thought, oh my gosh, it would be amazing. Okay, so typically it's very feeling based. Like I just did a reading the other day for a father who had his daughter pass away, and at the incident he wanted insight on, I hated the feeling of it. Like I just really did not want to tap in. I didn't want to know. Like this is murky. Like the best thing I could see is murky. I could see the hotel room. I could see it like I'm a fly on the wall, but it's all in my mind's eye. And like what you would imagine, right? And then when the daughter comes through, she's totally different than her energy is totally different than how she passed. Like how she passed was like the worst time in her life. And she's like, hey, this is who I am. I'm fully whole. I'm fully healed. I have unconditional love. And that's who I want to be remembered for. I don't want to be remembered for the worst times in my life. So sometimes it's like a bird's eye view. Sorry, we have 5 dogs, and I just had a dog come in.
No, that's all right.
But yeah, it's mostly feeling based with visuals, I don't get audibles very often. I would say visually, and then like claircognizance a ton.
So this is where I get caught up at,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if it's coming to you almost subconsciously, and it's almost
yeah.
presenting itself to you as a thought that you're having, right?
Yes.
How do you go about discerning, is this just a thought that I'm projecting, that maybe
Yeah.
this is how this would go, or this is something entirely unrelated to my own natural mind and my own natural thoughts? Like,
Yes.
where's that barrier at? That's what I try and find whenever I try and,
Sure.
do this kind of stuff.
Yes. Here's Taylor.
Hey,
And
Taylor.
okay, so hi Taylor. She's a diva. Okay. Practice. The more I would practice and the more readings I would do, the less my ego would get in the way. Or like at the very beginning, I feel like my muggle mind would want to intercede and like fill in the blanks. And I still do that sometimes. Like, I'm not perfect. And but as much as I can, I've really started to recognize like what is the spirit or the essence or the energy that I'm interpreting, and what's my own voice.
Okay. Yeah, it's so strange because so it was a few months ago, we had one of our best buds pass
Yeah.
away. And
Oh yeah.
shout out Optimistic Banks, one of the best to ever do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, that broke us. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, ever since that happened, we feel like so much closer now to him than even whenever he was alive. And it's because maybe this is just a way that I'm interpreting it. It could be the way that it's meant to be interpreted. I don't know. But he kind of left like an energy signature, and that signature, that what represents him in my mind, is he
Yeah.
was always known for including the 333 in all of his songs, and he always said that was like his thing, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
every single time I see a 333, it just so happens to intervene at a thought where I'm wondering something.
I
It's
love
like
it. Yeah.
perfect timing, and it's almost like it was exactly what I needed to see in that moment of wonderment. And in that moment that I see that 333, I can almost envision exactly what his face would look
Yeah.
like. I can envision exactly his words that he would say. And I feel this warmth come over. And it is the craziest thing. Just the other day, the craziest thing happened. I went to go pick my son up from the babysitter, and the babysitter lives like a mile away. So it's really not a long drive.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so I usually, whenever I listen to music, ever since he passed, I always have his music on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just so happened to be listening to the 333 song, which is my favorite song of his. And as soon as I went to go pick him up, my son got in the car, and my son's only 3 years old, which is another weird thing, right? And so I went to go pick him up, and my son goes, "Hey, Daddy, who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's Banks." And my son goes, "Hi, Banks." I was like, "Dude, that is the craziest thing." And as soon as he said that, I got this crazy image of Banks just saying, "Aw, so sweet," or "Aw, so cute," or something like that. And it felt like such a surreal moment. Now, of course, my literal logical mind is
Muggle
like,
mind. Yeah.
that's just what you want to believe.
Right,
And then the other side is like, okay, I wouldn't have had that thought. Like, why would my mind instantly go to what his mind would be thinking? Why wouldn't I just go internal into that own thought and just say, that's really cute, or maybe Banks would have really liked that. But no, I went straight to what Banks's reaction would have been.
Right?
Right?
100%. 100%. Yeah. They can insert thoughts in our brain. That's something that I didn't know. So like you thinking 333 or being, hey, heads up, that's him putting it in there. I'm going to shut my door so my dog doesn't come back in. I'll be right back. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I feel like this is the perfect person to bring this up to.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you guys, I
gave me
get
chills.
so pumped. I'm so excited. I could talk about this for freaking ever. Okay, so to piggyback on what you were saying, ironically, we moved out to the farm in June 2024. That same month, my best friend passed away. best friend. When we moved to our new town, we've lived here for about 8 years. She was the first person to call me. Our kids are the same age. My husband worked with her. She's a real badass. Like, I just thought she was like the coolest older sister I never had, right? Well, she passed away, and I am convinced, you cannot tell me otherwise, that she 100% had something to do with this whole process of me opening up. The timing was not coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences. I'm just like, she has been instrumental in the whole process.
The lightning
Big time.
rod. The lightning
Oh
rod you
my
needed.
gosh. Totally. And in fact, when I was like really trying to hone in my mediumship skills, I would go to this visual place in my mind's eye where I would sit down on a couch and she would sit right next to me. And so we would have like a spirit or whoever we were trying to connect with, I was trying to connect with, they would come in, and she was amazing at interviewing. She would get so much information out of anybody. And so like this spirit would come in as she and I are sitting on my sofa in my mind's eye. And I'm like, I don't know this person, Kenda. Like, what do I say? She's like, oh, ask them about their school and, how their kids are doing. And then, I mean, she led the whole stinking thing to get out like so much information. Um, it they're definitely integrated, and I believe that they're part of our teams and that they're advocating for us, they're rooting for us, and they're like networking on the other side for like our greatest good.
Man,
Yeah.
there's obviously there's the large piece of me that is like, I believe that so much that I almost know it to be true.
Yeah.
Sean, you ever feel like that where it's like, all right, I know this shit might sound kind of crazy to everybody else, but the way that I'm interpreting it and the way that it's, kind of communicating with me, whether it is through signs and synchronicities or whatever it may be, it's almost like an internal knowing that exactly what you saw was what you were meant to meant to see, and maybe it was placed there by somebody or something that is trying to help you along the way.
Absolutely. There was that one time that I was describing where, it had just happened maybe a week prior, Optimistic Banks is passing, and I was at work and I was putting water from one container into another. It's just the nature of what I have to do at my job. And there's an album cover of his that he has, and the character, assuming it's him, a depiction of him, and he's got water coming from this hand and it's like going into this hand, and it's just like a transfer of water from here to here. And I just so happened to be thinking about him at that time. I was looking at the sky thinking like, oh, he's in that place where it's the biggest mystery of any mystery ever, like wherever that is, that's where he is now. And then I was looking at the water going from one bucket to another, and then I thought about that album cover, and it was just like, it was just too much all at once. And it was just like you said, Jonathan, like in that moment I knew I was seeing that for a purpose. Almost like it was, like you said, he's putting that thought into my head while I'm doing it. In that moment, it was like because he knew I would put the pieces together.
Yes, big time.
And so it was just too perfect.
It's crazy too, because in this is, in my mind, this is kind of how I put it together. Now, obviously us, living these human experiences, we experience life linearly, right? Like past, future, present, all that kind of stuff. It's almost like the reel on a camera roll kind of deal. You know, we're kind of just going frame by frame. But I imagine that maybe those that have passed, maybe call them maybe angels or aliens or gods or whatever, are existing on a plane of existence that is over time. Like it's not bound by time, and therefore it's not like, maybe Banks would have to wait for that exact moment for you to have that exact thought at that exact time. It's like, well, I see outside of time, and you can almost go in there and edit. All right, well, I want to make sure I put this 333 as he's having this thought, because I can see the future and the past, and I know exactly how it's going to make him feel in that exact moment. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I'm getting too logical about it.
No. No, it's totally true. It's totally true. I don't believe that there's like space or time and like outside of whatever the matrix is. I mean, there's so much that I'm like, my mind is blown. I don't know a lot. Like, I have so many questions, but I am convinced that every time we think of our loved ones, they are fully aware of our thoughts. right? So if you're like at night, you're like, man, I really miss Banks. Well, there's no question in my mind that he's fully aware of it, right? So that is exciting. And, heaven's not this place up in the clouds. It could be the room next door. They're around us all the time. They're just on a different like radio station is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, it seems like that too. And I love all of the almost like the scientific proof that has been coming out as a result of
I
that.
know. It's so good. It's so
like,
good.
Whether you're talking about quantum entanglement or you're talking about the DMT studies where they put people under DMT for 60 straight minutes and they're able to find that literally whatever we don't have the perception to be able to perceive is like it has to be there. Almost like whenever you're on psychedelics, whatever you're seeing is more true to the nature of reality than the nature of reality that we perceive whenever
I agree.
Right?
I'm a huge fan, and I support like ibogaine with veterans, like in a controlled setting. I think like it's only a matter of time. Have you guys seen that documentary? Oh gosh, what is it? Waves of War on Netflix?
No,
have not.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It basically follows like SEAL Team 6 guys, Navy SEALs, and they what I like so much about the documentary is that it goes through their combat missions, right? But it also interviews their spouses, their children, and it shows them while they're away, and then it shows them reentry. And one of the guys was on 60 different prescription medications and trying to cope with his PTSD and everything. One of the guys goes and does ibogaine, goes down to Mexico. It's like MDMT or something like that. I don't know exactly what it's called. Anyways, changes everything. He's friends with his kids again. His wife likes him again. I mean, like last ditch. And so the documentary is about him bringing his like soldier veteran friends down to Mexico and going through the whole psychedelic treatment. And I think it is like essential. I think it would change so much. If we could, instead of going to counseling, just freaking take some ketamine, which I haven't done. I'm totally a fan of. I would love to. But like, I think it's profound.
Yeah, it's and we've had a couple of friends and listeners of the show actually recently just experienced the ibogaine treatment. And it was, I mean, these are people that are, bad off on depression. Maybe they're recovering from drug addiction or whatever the case may be.
Or loss, grief, whatever.
Dude, they go through the fucking process of it. And shout out to White Boy Wizard, but he said that as it was going into his system, he could feel that there was energy going all throughout his body, healing every part of his body so much. And he's always had like this, I believe it's a shoulder problem. And because he used to play football in high school, and I guess he injured his shoulder in a football game or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's been bothering him ever since. It was 20 years ago or whatever it was. And
crazy.
He did the ibogaine treatment, felt the energy going through his body, like literally he could pay attention and set like his consciousness on the energy that was traveling all the way throughout his body. And afterward, he said he had no more injuries anymore after it. So it was a literal process that was going on, and he was able to be there and witness the energy that was traveling.
Amazing. When I check into like the energy about it, it feels great. Like I've recently gotten on this kick, and if you knew me prior to me opening it up, I was an athlete. I taught tennis for like 25 years. I played Division I college tennis. I would eat whatever I wanted. I would drink any and all the things. But now it's like I can feel the energy of what I put in my body and what I don't put in my body. When I check into the energy of the ibogaine stuff or the psychedelics, I'm a huge fan. I think it's very positive.
Oh yeah, I'm a believer. After our friend's experience and just how he came off and was explaining the experience, and just you can just see. I mean, he looked different.
Yes,
I mean, his physical appearance looked different. I was
their
like, wow,
eyes are light. It's not like blacked out. There's like somebody home, whereas there wasn't anybody home before. I would totally get behind like legislation. I know there's like this big movement. I am so supportive of it. In fact, psychedelics.com or psychedelics, the Instagram account, we're going back all the time. I'm always like cheering them on. I think they are awesome. What they do is like, I think it's so healing.
Now, I don't think that, psychedelics are something that people should be partying to. Now, if you want to
I
go
agree.
and maybe pop a molly over at a rave, who am I to tell you what's
Yeah.
right and what's wrong? But
Right,
if
right.
I believe that it should be used for healing and
I agree.
almost restoring the magic that maybe you lost. I think that
Yes.
that is what is so transcendental about it. Anybody that's ever tried a heavy dosage of mushrooms or DMT or ayahuasca or ibogaine or peyote
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck it is, it's like
Yeah.
people are having real experiences with maybe the side of, they say that it's more real than real, right? Like whatever that
Yeah.
side is, they're remembering that part of themselves. Like remembering that fire,
Jonathan dropping the mic. Let's go.
they're remembering that fire they had in them whenever they were a little
Yeah.
kid. And, unfortunately, that just gets beaten the fuck out of us as we, grow
So
and get
sad.
older and all the years. And maybe you got to
Yeah.
go through the firewall of your parents and the firewall of your teachers. And then, the news, God forbid you turn the news on. It's going to tell you that you suck and all these things. It's like, and you should
So
be
much
scared.
anxiety.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
much. Yeah.
And it causes our light or our spark or whatever inside of us to go so dim that we almost forget that it's even there. And it's
Yes.
just so amazing whenever people have these experiences, it completely restores it.
I totally agree. And two things. I do believe that ibogaine or psychedelics need to be in a medical setting, in the therapeutic medical setting. What I liked about this documentary is that there's doctors, there's like almost like shamans that are there, like walking them through, which is super, super cool. There's that. But then back to what you were saying about how everything gets beaten out of us and we completely forget. It's because we're in fight or flight. Right? Our nervous system is not at rest at all. And it wasn't until like I moved to the farm where my kids are at school, my husband's at work, there's dogs running around, there's cats, there's chickens. I have like nature. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can chill. And now like my mind is silent enough to where I could hear or feel all this information coming in. Whereas before growing up in Southern California, never in a million years. Like it was just like me against the world,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
world just won't shut up.
No,
You know what I mean?
and they're
I feel-
brutal.
They just keep going,
I know.
I feel like
know.
that light or that whatever that magic is that allows you to hear said messages or feel certain energies, it's always there. We just pile so much shit on top of whatever that is.
Yeah, I
you know?
totally
And
agree.
so yeah, getting yourself away from that is huge.
Huge.
And the ibogaine itself is, at least from what I understand, I feel like it gets you back to that baseline. We have all
Yes.
these things going on, and now you got your anxiety going up here, and then your stress is over here, and then your tolerance for what you enjoy, that all of a sudden is skewed way up here. So you have to get to this
Yes.
level in order to actually enjoy something. Then
Yes.
the ibogaine brings everything back down to here, so that when
Yes.
you do have something that's worth enjoying, it's so much more noticeable, more of a
Totally.
contrast.
Yes. I think that's why like meditation is so moving and you can get such great information through meditation. But what's interesting is like you were saying, now you're here, you kind of like have a reset post ibogaine, or for me, it was like post meditation. It was like a slow change. But what was like hard now is like, how do I integrate my life back into the muggle world without being like batshit crazy? So like I was anonymous for a while. Like I was not ready to come out of the psychic closet just because we're in a small town, we're in the deep South. Like it is gnarly out there. And I didn't want it to like reflect poorly on my kids.
Oh yeah,
No?
I'm sure it can be hard, hard out here for a psychic pimp. But it's one of those. It is hard to try and integrate that back into. I
Yeah.
love how you say Muggle world too, but that's really
Thank
what
you.
it feels like. It's almost like, and I hate to call people NPCs because I don't believe. This is my own personal belief. I think
What's NPC mean?
Non-player character, like in a video game. But it almost
That is
feels
funny.
like. And maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like everybody's kind of born an NPC. And then maybe there are stages of waking up. Now, I'm sure that there are some child prodigies that just, understood Einstein's formula
Quantum physics,
or
yeah.
whatever at 4 years old, but that's the exception of the nature of that part,
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody, not everybody, maybe not everybody will ever get there. But maybe that's not even the point, but trying to integrate that part of yourself back into reality, it's like, man, that's harder than some of the shadow work you got to do sometimes.
Oh, I know, big time. But here's the thing, going back to what you're saying about like integrating or how people are born as like phenoms or, prodigies. I do think children are way more sensitive than adults are because they're fresh out of the gate, like fresh from the veil, right? I think they're super sensitive. So your 3-year-old being like, hey, Bagsy, like, hey, how are you? Like he's super sensitive because that's his soul's native language. And then if you fast forward to like elderly people in hospice, they see their loved ones, like they talk to them. And you'll even talk to like hospice nurses who are like, when they start talking to their loved ones, they're going to go in the next couple days, in the next couple hours. So I think we all have it. I just think that like reality and trauma and anxiety just silences our soul's like native language.
And it's so cool to rediscover that at like whatever point we are in our lives. Like, thankfully, unfortunately, we lose that, in the beginning as a child, you have that spark. And then, fortunately, you kind of regain it a little bit as you're, nearing the end of the said physical life. But to rediscover it in the middle of life, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, 60s, that is where shit just opens all the way up. It's like
crazy.
It's like you feel like once that awakening or that downloading or that realizing of the self and the nature of reality, it's like before that you're walking around with binoculars, and it's like as soon as you have that kind of drop of divination or whatever you want to call it. Binoculars are completely off and you can see 360,
right.
like
and we're all connected and it's like everything. You sound so woo, right? I'm like, we're all one. We're with the trees and the animals, but like not sounding crazy. It's true. Like I feel super connected about with the animals and then the trees or the ocean. It's just like, that's why our nervous system's like at rest naturally there. And, yeah, it's crazy with the opening up process, especially like midlife. It's wild.
Yeah, I think it makes it even like more particularly special.
I agree. I think it's so cool. I'm like thrilled that this is like my life sitting here talking to you guys right now. And crazy.
You feel like, you want to go out and tell everybody and you're so excited, but
Muggle world.
After a while, it almost feels like you're proselytizing, and I think that's why the sages and the gurus and the monks, they never tell you the truth. They help you discover the truth. And I think that's really important. Because I can look at you in the face all day and say, whatever, and you're not going to believe it because it's coming out of my mouth. You didn't realize it,
right?
It's right. The magic comes whenever realization happens. I feel like
totally
to the individual.
Totally, yes. Like being a medium, it's like I am only the mouthpiece. Like there's no hero here. Like the sitter is the hero. The person on the other side is the hero. Like. And my biggest concern all the time is like, am I translating accurately? Because I want to do them justice. And it's essential that they hear what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, we could go on and on and on.
So, all right. I want to get into the nitty gritty of you and your experiences and everything. But now you had mentioned your neighbor and that was the first time something like this had happened?
Yes. It was like last January-ish.
Wow. Okay.
So not 2026, 2025. Yeah, very.
Wow, that is so awesome. And whatever so awesome. And ever since then, you've just kind of gone with it and learned to trust it and didn't just write it off?
Yeah, well, I got a reading from Angela Ford, and I've been listening to the telepathy tapes. So that kind of just opened my mind, and when I was listening to it, it was like I was like a fiend. I was like an addict. I'm like, I cannot get enough of this information. This is fascinating. And I knew what they were saying really resonated with me. I'm around a lot of children when I teach tennis with learning disabilities, dyslexia, autism. They get it. Like they're sensitive and they get it. And what they were saying in the telepathy tapes and my lived experience were definitely congruent with each other. So there was that. And then I got a reading with Angela Ford, who gave me the best reading of my whole life. She was like, she went through me, my life. She went through my husband's life. She went through my 2 kids. She went through my 5 stinking dogs. My son had even like, this is funny. I caught like a pet turtle for like the day, and he put him in like a tire. And Angela was like, "Hey, listen, I think that turtle is like not living in a humane way. You should really." I mean, it was crazy.
What?
I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." So not only that, then she's like, "Hey, and just so you know, you're super psychic, and I want to work on remote viewing with you." I'm like, "What the heck's remote viewing?" And then that's what kind of started everything. So we would start remote viewing locations, and then from locations we would do like personalities, and then we would do like historic events. So I was getting into this world and starting to meditate, like not daily, maybe every other day. And like I write down everything, like every message that I get, every dream that I have, like I write it all down. So I was doing a ton of that. And then one random morning as I'm waking up, that's when Jill kind of came to me. And I had texted my parents. I was like, "Who the heck is Jill? I don't know a Jill." They're like, "Oh, our next door neighbor when we were growing up. When you were growing up, his name was Jill." I was like, "No." And I Google her obituary. Favorite pastime, beachcombing. And I was like, it was such a great way to start because I felt confident off the rip.
Wow.
I can imagine.
Yeah, not like confident, but like, okay, I'm not going crazy, right?
This is a thing. This is a thing that you can do,
yes,
right?
Yes. And that's how it kind of started.
You had mentioned Angela Ford, and I was like, where do I know that name from? And I just looked it up. I
Legend.
was like, oh, okay. I remember her from I think it was not that long ago that she went on Sean Ryan's show, right?
Yes.
And I remember listening to that and being like, oh, this is what he needs to be doing, talking to these kind of fucking people.
No, so good. Yeah, that's how I found her, was on the Sean Ryan show.
Okay, yeah, my God. I love those kind of episodes. They're so interesting. Oh my
gosh, I know. And like Joe McGonigal and everybody's crazy.
Yes, especially by somebody who I like Sean Ryan, but I think that he's almost a little skeptic, but open at the same time, you know?
I agree. Because he did Ibogaine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
SEAL teams, I'm telling you, they all go through Ibogaine.
Oh, wow. So
not all of them, but it's a thing.
So you found interest in her. Then you had the conversation with her. She runs through everything with you, and then you have the experience afterward.
Yes, and I'm still in touch with her at that point. And then I ended up taking a class with her. She had great insight, great just like practical tools that were really helpful for me. And then just over time, she introduced me to some great people. She introduced me to Jeanette Lucas, who was a psychic medium. She's psychic medium. She does missing persons. She's like the only psychic named in the Smithsonian. Yeah, casual. She's into dowsing, big into dowsing. Angela's just been a wonderful contact for me. I call her my fairy godmother. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. But I felt very isolated here. Like I said, being in the Deep South. So she kind of plugged me in with friends of like mind and with a lot of the same gifts. And, somebody would be working on a case and say, "Hey, we're working on this missing person case. What do you get?" We can kind of just bounce ideas off of each other. So that was really influential. And then started just doing readings.
How does your family and like your close friends and whatnot react to this? Yeah. Are they open to this kind of stuff?
Oh, this is hilarious. Okay, so my husband I'm like the wild one, and he is like I like to explain him as a walking Excel spreadsheet. Okay, like he's the numbers guy. He is so analytical. He is in the box. But he's also like the reason why we pay our mortgage. Like we're not homeless. There's that. Okay. And setting up college for the kids, all that stuff. He's amazing with that. He's very practical, very analytical. When all of this was happening, he was by my side the whole time. And he's like, "I'm cool with the remote viewing. I'm cool with like your predictions. But the talking to dead people stuff really kind of freaks me out." And I'm like, "Yo, I get it. Like zero judgment. Everybody's on their own thing." But now after time and he's seen, things kind of come to pass, and just the help and insight and the healing that he's seen like go through, just people that are grieving or families that have lost their loved ones, to have some sort of direction and closure. Now he's like totally on board. Yeah.
Oh,
but like it's great. Both of my kids are really intuitive, and like I practice mindsight with my daughter who's 8. Yeah, super cool. My sisters are super, super supportive. They're from California, so that probably has a lot to do with it. Very open-minded. And now, like, whenever I see my parents or my dad, he's like, "Do you have any messages?" Like, well, what are my parents doing? For me? Yeah, totally. But it's really, really helpful. Like, my dad has like arthritis, or I'm like, "Hey, if you try using this, homeopathic whatever for your wrist, for your arthritis," and the stuff that comes through, it's like, I would never know that. Right? Like, somebody was asking me in a reading about investments, and I'm like, "Oh, you should look at leasing the air rights in New York City." I'm like, I would never say this. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, totally out of left field, it seems.
Yes. Most of my friends are very, supportive. There are, of course, people that aren't, but it's like, I understand that too. I think it's fear, heavy in religion, that whole thing. So
yeah,
anybody that really knows me is like, "Cool, awesome, this is fascinating." I'm like, "Yo, this is way fascinating."
I'm sure you've been told a time or two that, you're speaking with dark spirits or something.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. And I'm like, listen, I don't go near anything that's scary. I'm like rainbows and unicorns and like warm and fuzzies. Like, I don't go there. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Same. Yeah. I'm like, you stay your ass over there, and I'm going to be over here in the light. That's what I want to kind of discover a little bit.
Totally. Yes. Or like at the very beginning, I would be doing meditations, and I would be kind of not scared, just maybe unsure. And I would ask for Archangel Michael to like walk before me. And so like wherever I was going, he was taking me. And I'm like, okay, all this is in my mind's eye, right? But like, I felt really safe with him, and I still call on him all the time, and dude delivers. I really, really like him.
You hear a lot of people working with the archangels, and I mean, look, I didn't grow up in religion. I didn't even know the name of most of these angels up until a couple of years ago. But you hear about some of the experiences of maybe people calling on them in a ritual or in a meditation or whatever, and it is crazy. And so much so that we actually had one of our favorite people of all time, Lord Byron Jester. He gave us this guided meditation a couple of times, and he calls upon the 4 main angels, which represent the 4 cardinal directions and the 4 elements and all that kind of stuff. And I swear, I felt something whenever he called. I think it was Gabriel. But it is a strange sensation.
Right? Raphael, Gabriel, West.
Oh, I'm terrible at remembering directions.
It is Gabriel's the West. I'm pretty sure.
Whichever it was like it was noticeable, and I was like, wait a second. Like, am I making this happen, or is this happening like with me, kind of thing? Yeah,
you're like, am I going crazy? That's what I would say to my husband all the time. I'm like, either I am right or lock me up in the loony bin, because that's how real it is for me. Like, there was a time I was like, is this like, are we cool? Is this cool? But yeah,
it's pretty strange. So have you given readings to like a lot of people by now?
Yeah. What's wild is that it just has taken off. Like, it just has taken off. And I will say I have a lot of support from people that have gone before me. Angela has been really instrumental in that. I've met some wonderful people that are always throwing people my way, or, you should do a reading. I do readings on animals also. So I get referrals of friends, and it just has taken off, and it's amazing. I'm so thrilled that I get to do it. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Oh, I bet it is.
I know.
It seems awesome.
It's so good.
That's why it's going to work out. You know what I mean? Because you're putting all of your energy into it, and you don't see it as work. It's something you enjoy. And so
I thoroughly enjoy it. It is. And like, yeah, I feel like I'm living in my purpose, and because I'm living in my purpose, like things are just kind of ramping up, and I'm really trying to say yes to everything.
Well, I tell you what, you probably rarely ever get sick then, right?
I have not been sick in a while, but like I do have young kids, 11 and an 8-year-old.
That'll do
Like,
it. Yeah.
yeah. But like I try to not get sick. I mean, as anybody would, but
yeah. Only reason I say that is most people that like are excited about living in their purpose tend to almost have like a better immune system.
Oh gosh, I'm drinking so much water. I'm not drinking alcohol at all. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, like, homegirl liked a White Claw or two, you know? Yeah, but now I'm like, it's just like downer energy for me. I'm like, you know, no judgment.
You're trying to sharpen the tool, not dull it up. You know, you found this gift, you found this thing you're able to do, and the last thing you want to do is to do something that might slow that down.
Totally, yes. Like, I just don't want any bad energy in me, around me.
That makes sense.
Going back to real quick,
yeah.
You were saying that you would kind of like shy away from anything of the dark or anything like that, but have you experienced something of that nature?
Not really. Some might say, like in my missing person cases, it is very dark. It's very grim. I get very specific details about somebody passing. But it's really, I feel very much protected when I'm delivering that information because I'm not feeling it.
Right.
Like, I'm just watching it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like, if I'm watching something like, you know, an unresolved case, or where a body may have been disposed of, or, you know, just graphic details, I don't really get freaked out. I feel very protected. Like, honestly,
for sure.
I don't, rarely do I feel what the victim is going through. Usually I'm just watching it. And what's interesting is that they often tell me what solves the case. Like, make sure the law enforcement goes through phone records. You know, it might have been a couple years ago where they didn't have the technology. That has been really, really interesting.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting that all of that is kind of coming to you in that moment. Do you feel like now that you've kind of accepted your role in this reality, and you're like, all right, this is who I am,
or doubling down,
Like, do you? Because we've talked to so many different psychics who they all say the same thing. Anybody can do it. We're all capable of doing it. Do you feel that way too?
Yes, but I attribute it to my tennis background. So, okay, anybody can pick up a tennis racket. Anybody could go on a tennis court and hit the ball over the net. But there are some people that are just naturally gifted, more naturally gifted than others. Like, somebody just might have a really great serve naturally, right? So I think everybody has intuition. I 100% think that. I think our intuition is connected to the field, right? The quantum field. And if we get these bad feelings or good feelings, that's 100% our intuition. And learning to not silence that is like a superpower, I think.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And the more you pay attention to it, the more it grows, I think.
All right. And as far as, you know, obviously there are some people that are just gifted at it. Like, you use tennis analogies. I like using football analogies. Like,
okay, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he was probably born gifted, right?
Oh, like, gosh, come on.
I mean, dude's
that guy can play tennis like no problem.
He could probably play any sport, no problem, right?
Anything,
like, some people are just that way. But then there are other people who maybe, you know, maybe they weren't that good in their youth, and they started practicing and they working out and they're doing all the drills.
They may be really good at chess or academic stuff, right? Yeah.
Right. And maybe they just had a dream that they want to achieve this, and they had to work really hard to get there, but they did eventually get there because they put all the time into it. Do you feel like with this tool that you've kind of discovered within yourself, that it did have to be sharpened, like in that it continues to have to be sharpened? Like, do you ever feel like whatever your habits or rituals are for maintaining this, like meditation or eating better or whatever the case, or exercise, like, do you feel like you need to do all these things to be able to maintain and grow it?
I think the main thing that anybody wants to grow their intuition is meditation. And this is somebody with extreme ADHD that, like a squirrel, like walks, you know, I'm very easily distracted. Prayer is talking, meditation is listening, right? So I really enjoy guided meditations just because if I'm sitting in silence, my mind starts going 100 million miles an hour. So I've gotten a lot of great information through guided meditation. So I think that's the baseline where everybody should start, and anybody can get information through meditation.
Oh yeah, and the guided meditations I feel like are the
Oh,
easiest ones
good.
to get into, right?
Oh, I know. They're
Like
great.
you don't need to just sit there and listen to a 7 hertz frequency for an hour or whatever, because maybe
Yeah.
some people, they got that ADHD, like crackhead kind of mind that just needs to
Yeah.
fucking focus on everything, right?
Yeah.
But like
We're not
those,
naming names.
yeah, not naming names, but in other cases, the guided meditations are
Great.
it's almost doing it for you. And it's
Oh, it's
so
so great.
easy, and it's easy to pay attention to because you got the music and the frequency in the
Oh,
background, and then the person is just guiding you, and you're just allowing your mind to do what it does.
yes. And if it's too much, I mean, there's 900 million other guided meditations. So just kind of finding what you like, finding, getting into like a flow or something that you're comfortable with. And I think if you start there, it's like opening a can of worms.
Do
I
you
think the biggest thing is to be open, because
Yeah.
you can take somebody and put a guided meditation on for them, and if they're just not open to it, like if they're
Oh,
listening to the
totally.
suggestions and they're like, no, I'm not going to imagine that. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
and then they're not going to have the same quality of meditation,
Yeah.
and so I think a lot of it, especially the psychic stuff, has to do with being open to the information. You said
I
earlier,
agree.
as far as like not getting so much of the audible things,
Mhm.
would you be open to that?
Oh, totally. I would, the more information I can get, the better.
Okay, there goes my theory then.
Yeah. Oh, what's your theory?
I was just thinking like, oh, maybe like subconsciously you're not open to getting any kind of audible type of
Oh,
information, and
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why you're not getting it. But
No,
what
I
do I
would
know?
love it. No, 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 no. No wrong answers. That is 100% sure over here. I know people that will get like tastes or smells when they're doing readings or they're getting information. That has not been the case for me. I just get really strong feelings, and from these feelings, like I could get a ton of information from the feeling in the same way, like, you know, New York City feels different than the Bahamas,
Mhm.
right? They feel different. It's a different energy. Um, I remember one time I was doing a podcast and I was talking about, um, I believe that Nikki McCain was put in the back of like a red truck, and he goes, "Well, what does a red truck feel like?" I'm like, great question. I don't know if I could transfer the feeling. I would.
Okay. All right. I got a pretty interesting question. I was just writing it down
Yeah,
so I didn't forget
yeah.
it. But
You forget it happens all the time.
all
Yes.
right. So let's say you're about to give a reading, or maybe you're
Mhm.
just in a meditation, whatever the case may be, and you
Mhm.
see, maybe you're trying to intuit a situation, whatever the case may be, and you see an image pop into your mind. Now, whenever that initial image first pops into your mind, do you allow yourself to follow through with whatever may be coming following that image? Like, all the rest of the information, or is it just like, all right, I saw an image and I got the information I needed? Like, does it start out as a picture and then kind of evolve into a video, or does it just stay a picture?
Both and.
All
Maybe
right.
not. I mean, it's just different. Every reading is different. Like, sometimes I'll get very specific visuals of somebody who's passed. Sometimes I don't get any visuals, but I could feel like they're in their 60s and they feel like an oak tree. So they probably were like very strong. And like, I did a reading with a friend of mine. I was like, your grandfather feels like an oak tree. And I'm like, I don't know another way to say that, but like he was central to the family, like he was the foundation, you know? And that's a feeling where I didn't get a visual, where sometimes I get visuals. I'm like, I see, this was crazy. I was like, I see this lady who's far away with long blonde hair, and she's off in the distance, and she feels like a sister, but she's not your sister. She's much closer than a friend. I'm like, I don't know like where to place her, but she could be your sister. And then the lady who I was doing the reading for, she was like, do you know what? Up until I was like 18 years old, up until she was 18 years old, her biological mother was her sister. and her mother had passed. Right.
Wow.
And then she didn't find out until she was 18 that her older sister was actually her biological mother. That's why I couldn't place it. I was like, dude, that's crazy.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, there's so many stories of that. So just like recently, do we have is that you guys a Zoom call?
No, I accidentally sent the message.
Okay, yeah, no worries. No, this was crazy. This is awesome because usually I'll get information and you have to sit on it forever and you're like waiting for boots on the ground to kind of do what you're asking them to do. And then there's all kinds of hoops to go through. Angela Ford was sitting on information since 1984. Oh. And it's just now coming up to fruition.
What?
Because there wasn't the technology back then for the information that she had. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. But I've got a very cool story. The other day I was doing a reading and I was like, hey, listen, I think down the road, the defendant in this case will eventually plead guilty. Right? I'm like, I just get up. It's a feeling I have. There's no audible. There's no sight. I'm like, they're going to plead guilty. And I get a text the next morning. Defendant pled guilty. Entered a plea deal. Wow. And I was like, never happens. Like the next day, I was like, that's so cool. I'm pumped.
Instant validation.
Yes. Wow. Whereas a lot of the things are, down the road.
And it's not like a preconceived notion that you're like piecing bits of information together. It's like some piece of information just comes to you out of nowhere at once.
I don't want to know any information. Like before our reading, I don't want to know any information. I'll ask for their birthday and their year just to get like basic numerology for me to focus. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just get whatever information I can get. Sometimes with a missing person, I'll look for, I'll ask for a picture if I'm not getting a lot of information. Or the other day I did a reading on a dog's health. And I was like, can I see a picture of the dog? And then all the information started coming. It's just kind of like channeling my mind to focus instead of going 900 miles an hour as it usually does.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to give any information to your muggle mind to take over and try to piece things together.
Especially
that's
when you're talking. Yes, especially when you're talking to somebody who's grieving or you're talking to somebody who's lost a loved one and cases might be open, not it's a cold case, it's very delicate. And I have to be, thankfully, I'm confident in the information that I get. There's no way I could possibly make it up because I don't know anything about the people that I'm reading.
Are there a lot of, sheriff's offices or police stations or what have you that are open to receiving this kind of information from psychic intuitives?
It's like an individual basis, right?
Gotcha.
Private investigators sometimes, sheriff's office, local police, federal agents. It all just depends. And then, a lot of times it's the families that want further information because the case has been closed or they feel like they're not getting enough attention on their case, sort of thing.
Oh, okay. That's really cool that, a lot of people are open to that kind of stuff.
Yes. And a lot of people are not. Like an FBI agent's not going to go on the stand to be like, a psychic told me to look under, no, right. They're going to, right. So
but
that's what's great about Angela.
Maybe a little bit of that information could help them along their way in their case.
Yes.
I see. Whenever you're giving a reading to somebody and something kind of comes up that, maybe you don't want to say it because maybe it's kind of like a gloomy or a dark kind of thing. Are you ever hesitant to say it or do you just give it as it comes?
Great question. I really try to make sure that I don't ever tell anybody what to do. I can just give you the information that I'm given. There's so much respect and they give me so much dignity on the other side that I really don't feel like I'm ever in a position to be like, your liver's failing and you got 5 months. It's not like that. Thankfully I haven't been in that situation. I have seen things that I think might alarm some people. It just doesn't scare me.
Okay. All right.
So,
because only reason I say that is that whenever I'm, I'm very new. Like we've been kind of messing around with tarot cards and stuff like that for the past couple of years. We always do a tarot card reading at the end of every show.
Yay!
But like, if somebody ever asked me for a tarot reading, which is not very often because most of the people in my life are muggles or NPCs or whatever you want to call them. But but in the given case where I do get somebody that does ask, and maybe I get a card that like might be saying something that I might not feel very comfortable saying to them.
Yeah.
I feel almost a little hesitant to say it, but at the same time, I almost feel like it's a responsibility to give it to them exactly how I'm seeing it.
Totally. Absolutely. I think it's like a discernment sort of thing. I might know things that may happen, but unless I get the nudge or the thumbs up, like you really need to go tell this person, I'm not going to do it,
Heard that. All right. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got to discover it on their own time.
Yes. Okay. Back to what you're saying about the tarot cards.
Yeah.
Like if you pull the Tower, right? And you're like, oh, geez, right? What I've learned with tarot, and I'm not like a master tarot reader at all. I just got into it because Angela told me to, and it's fascinating.
It's a great tool.
It's such a great tool. It could be pertinent to one single area of your life, not the all-encompassing, the heart and soul of the Tower. It could be my finances, or it could be my relationships, or it could be my relationship with my kids or my parents, or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's and the Tower card, it does get a bad rap because it looks like there is absolute destruction. But the way I kind of look at it is, it's like if the tarot card was a Hindu god, I would call it Shiva. It's like the creator and the destroyer. It's like these things kind of have to fall down in order for something new to be born. Like the Phoenix kind of deal. And so it might, it'll shake the fuck out of your foundation of everything. And it could just be that one situation, whatever it's going on in your life. But that'll get real rocky, and maybe you feel like you're falling out of a building that's set on fire and it's cracking in half, like 9/11 kind of shit.
But it's going to be great.
But then luckily what you end up finding is the guy's passport in a pile of rubble, and it leads you to a little bit of information.
Yeah. Yes, no, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of them. I think they're great. And what was cool, I don't know it off the top of my head, in this class I took with Angela, she would go through all of the major arnicas, and she would go like, this one is correlated with January, this one's correlated with February. So you pull this card, or maybe it's the Tower, and that might be correlated with August. So you could be like, hey, heads up, maybe in August there might be an ending to something. That was really helpful to me. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, and something that I recently learned is that arcana actually means, I think that it's a Greek word, but arcana actually means secrets or mysteries, right? And so whenever you have major arcana and minor arcana, it's major secrets or mysteries and minor secrets or mysteries, which is pretty cool.
I did
Always
not know that.
I'm in a permanent state of mind blown all the time.
We're just getting weird up in this biatch.
I love it.
So do you have like a favorite guided meditation? Like, do you have a go-to one that just sends you exactly where you need to go?
Okay, so when I was just getting started, I would listen to Nikki Sutton. So she does like sleep meditations. Her voice is a little bit like wooey, like, hello, and sometimes for me now it's too much. Like I can't listen to it because I feel like I can't even go to the places because she's still talking. But there was a time and a place that was wonderful. I really enjoyed her. Pure Rasa, she's good. I can't think off the New Horizon is another one, and she does children's guided meditations too. So if I'm laying down with my kids, we can do sleep meditations. That's great. There's another lady, Tracy H something. I'll send you guys a link. She has like a British accent. She's very, very soothing. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we can't get enough of the guided meditations. That's just our favorite.
Yeah.
Our favorite, if you want a really good one, like a short one, usually like 10, 15 minutes is what we like to, it's like the sweet spot,
Yeah.
But the one where we found like that we love the most is actually called Great Meditation on YouTube. And her voice will just send you wherever you're trying to go.
Just sends you like right
I
now.
love it. Like send it. All right.
Because normally
Great
in a
meditation.
normally in a meditation, maybe it takes a few minutes to really kind of get into that zone, right? But I swear, it's like within a minute and a half, and you are transported to another world.
I love
It
it.
is
I
so
love it
good.
so much. It's so good. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I find like if I meditate, I'm just so much more chill and relaxed. It's like, it's my favorite thing ever. And my husband tried to get me to meditate all the time, like 5 years ago. I'm like, on what planet do you think we're living on that I could actually meditate? Now I'm like, have you done your meditation today? Like it's, of course it ends up like that, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And with you said that you're uh kind of built this habit of keeping a journal of all your notes and you're kind of
Yes.
documenting your dreams and maybe the messages that come in a meditation. Is
Yep.
that something that you have found that is almost like equally as powerful at helping you along with this journey as even the meditation itself?
Great question. This is awesome. Okay, so for my own personal meditations, for my life, I will maybe stop mid meditation and write it down before I forget. I do all of this stuff just to make sure that I don't forget, because or like all of my readings, I don't go and do like I don't do like a guided meditation or meditation before my readings, but like I'll show you here. I'll do So like here is a meditation. I mean not a meditation, a reading. So I start getting all of the information and I just write the whole thing down. And after I write it down, I record it in like a voice note so that I'm like uninterrupted. So you and I don't get distracted by our conversation. So I send that over and then I send pictures of the notes to whoever I'm doing the reading for. And then our scheduled call is like when we debrief or we get to discuss everything. I love that part. But for my own meditations, I just write it down as it comes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I eventually want to like write a book, and I think my book is going to be um like all of these things that came in a meditation and here's what happened, or I worked this case and this is how the case got solved, or I told this person that the defendant was gonna plead guilty and then sure enough the next day. I mean, just it's just for my own documentation. It's so cool, I don't want to forget it.
I mean,
Yeah.
essentially, if you think about it, you're developing your own language with whatever that is. Like the
Yes.
the oak tree. Now that you've gotten validation for what maybe that means,
Mhm.
anytime you get that particular feeling and you get the oak tree, okay, now you have that little piece of information.
Totally.
And I think that
Yes.
that would be different for everybody. See,
Yes.
so have you actually gotten any kind of information like divination wise just from a dream? Like you wake up from a dream and just write your
Oh
whole
yeah.
dream down? And so how
Yes.
would you know who that was for?
Great question. I'll have dreams of things that happen before they do. It's very
Really?
rare,
Uh-huh.
but they stick out more than regular dreams.
Mhm.
So now I know, if I have one of those dreams, I just write everything down. Um, when I was working, getting a lot of information on the Nikki McCain case, I was passed out, middle of the night, don't think anything of it, and I get like woken up and I hear Lake Shasta, like thunder striking Lake Shasta. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's where Nikki is, right? So I write that down on my thing and then I send it over to the family in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
But prior to going to sleep, do you typically like to set intentions to be able to receive messages in your dreams like that? Or is this stuff kind of always on your mind anyway? So you don't necessarily need to set an intention because it's
It's
kind of
always on my
already.
mind. It's always on my mind. And I like to meditate before bed. It kind of just like makes me tired, just to roll over and go. And yeah, typically recently, what's really interesting, how you were saying at the very beginning about like all these people, all these psychics are like the floodgates are opened, right? In the same way, my dreams recently have been so vivid, like, so I just write it all down just in case, or I'll have like a friend call me, like, I had the craziest dream. What do you think it is? I'm like, I don't know, but just write it down because it's going to pop up.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just talking to Sean before the show,
Yeah.
and so I've been trying to reach out to one of my buddies, and
Mhm.
and at first he was like really excited about this idea that I had, and he was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I want to do it. I can't wait to do it." He's coming up with all these
Yeah.
ideas and everything, and a couple of days go by, and I didn't hear from him, so I wrote over to him and I said, "Hey, is everything like all right?" And I didn't hear
Mhm.
from him for like 2 or 3
Yeah.
days, and
Mhm.
then so. I had a dream last night that I saw him at a party, and he was like
Okay.
trying to evade me this entire time I'm at the party. Like he knows that I'm there, but he doesn't want to say anything to me, at least not yet. And then today, like, I don't know, it was probably around 4 or 5, this
Yeah.
evening, and he
Mhm.
wrote and he said, and he explained, why he hadn't, written back or called back or anything yet. And so it was really strange. It was almost like the dream was showing me that he was trying to evade because maybe he had some thoughts to gather or it wasn't ready to have that conversation. And then
That's
just a few
amazing.
hours after the dream, he texts me.
Well, what I love about that so much is that like it's so loving, right? The dream, you receiving that dream is so nice because without that dream, you would be like, "Where the heck's my buddy? Like, is he pissed at me? Like, why?" You already like go to worst case scenario,
Yeah.
but because of that dream, you're like, "Interesting. Okay, he's got something going on." And then when you talk to him, you're like, "Did you have something going on? Whatever." And it just tracks. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I was even thinking about writing him yesterday, but I was like, you know what? It's not like him to just kind of turn off his phone and not be talkative and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So maybe something's really going on. I'm just gonna wait for
Sure.
his time, and then I have the dream,
Yeah.
and then he hits me up the next day. I was like, man, that's. I feel
The
like it was
timing
almost
is impeccable.
like premonition kind of deal, you know?
Yes. See, there's your intuition.
All right, we're getting
You're
it.
doing
It's
it,
coming
dude.
along.
We're
You're
getting
doing
there.
it.
It's
I'm
coming
telling you,
along.
just by having these conversations, pulling tarot, guided meditations. Have you guys tried remote viewing?
Not officially. No.
Ooh, you should try.
I would love to, and I've tried astral projecting, which I feel like is kind of similar to remote viewing anyway. Right?
Totally is. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
But that was a while ago, and my stupid mind was like, "Oh, you're just imagining it." So
You can't do it.
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
you're making it
Right.
up. Yeah.
So
But
when you try, you have to do it in like a very safe space to where you feel free to be wrong. Right. So when I was learning how to do it, Angela was like, "Hey, listen, I'm wrong all the time." I'm like, "This chick can retire from Stargate and be wrong." I That was really comforting to me. So I'm like, "Okay, if I was wrong, maybe I see like a blue mountain and it was like the ocean." She's like, "Hey, but you saw the blue mountain, you know? So there's a link between the ocean." So just try to like go easy on yourself. And if you go easy on yourself, it's a lot easier. The information just starts to flow. If your critical mind is like so mean, like nobody wants to hear it.
so whenever you're trying to remote view, do
Mhm.
you what's the process of that? Are you trying to get into a meditative state and then you're like, "All right, mind or astral body or whatever, let me try and see there." Like, are you trying to at first get into a meditative state, or can you just go?
The latter. I just focus on the energy of the target. And sometimes
Really?
it's better than the others. Like sometimes I could really nail it, and sometimes, I could kind of get it. Um, I think remote viewing, what's great about remote viewing is that if you're kind of like flowing or you're in sync, um, and you're getting really good information, it's like undeniable to the people around you, right? So
Yeah.
like my husband was very skeptic, and there was a particular incident where he's like, I drive by this place all the time, and I want to know what goes on there. I'm like, let me remote view this, and I automatically see like this tower, and it's like you kind of just tune into the energy of like channeling. It's a form of channeling,
Right.
just tuning into the energy. And what he was talking about was like a monument in the state of Kentucky where it was a big tower. And when I flipped the paper around, he's like, "That's it." And so it's not as like hokey or faux pas as talking to dead people, right?
Right.
But it's still a great skill to have, like, and it's
100%.
undeniable.
Yeah. There's been so much proof of it. And so as a matter of fact, I just started a new series of shows that are coming out every Tuesday and Thursday, a little shameless plug. And
I love it.
it's called The Mystic Studies, where it's just me and I'm going over, maybe some old freedom of information releases by the CIA and whatnot, right? And the first one that I went into was the gateway process with Robert Monroe, and I love all that kind of stuff. But
I want to go so bad.
Well, I had never read the entire document, and it's like 28 pages or 29 pages. It is phenomenal reading that thing because it was documented by a lieutenant colonel or something like that. And, somebody who you would think is just the most logical, like straight and narrow kind of mind. But the way that he's gathering all this information, you can almost start to tell that he believes it all the way, and so obviously Robert Monroe is brought up in a lot of it because he's the one that created the gateway process. But who else is brought up in that whole gateway process is this guy. I believe he's German or Russian or some shit. His name is Itzhak Bentov. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's Itzhak. I think it's Itzhak or Isaac or some shit. Anyway, he was part of the Stanford Research Institute process. It was like before there was the gateway process, SRI was working on it before, right?
Yes.
And he was one of the main guys that was really working on remote viewing and astral projection, out of body experiences, and all that kind of stuff. And so he wrote an entire book, and it's called "Stalking the Wild Pendulum." And so I'm actually reading that on the Mystic Studies right now. I just read the first couple of chapters. This guy is breaking it down into a scientific level of understanding. It sounds like maybe if you're new to this kind of stuff, it might initially sound woo-woo, but the way he's tying it into his understanding of the astral plane or the plane of existence that we live on, he's breaking it down in a scientific way that even a logical person would be able to kind of piece it together and understand. I love all that kind of stuff. And I've been kind of thinking that maybe I'll get into like remote viewing or try a remote viewing or something like that once I get through the book. But he breaks it down in a way to where you're like, okay, I feel like I know how this is done, Yes.
When you're learning to remote view, there's studies around this. I'm trying to think. As you were talking about the Stanford Research Center, it was Dr. Angela Ford wrote a book with him, and he was over the Stargate program there for a while. Anyways, so they did all this research, and what they found was when you're doing remote viewing, the targets, like to get started, the more vibrant the picture is, the better the remote viewer does.
Is it Dr. Janet Frazier or Carolyn Lamb or Carson Beckett?
Male. It's Dr. Ed May.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Ed May. Brilliant. He was on Sean Ryan too. Fascinating interview. Brilliant. But he does a very good job of articulating this data and science behind everything. And it's just like my brain never works like that. But to be able to break it down and be able to communicate that on the other side of things is really helpful.
Oh man, yeah, it's because it'll help quiet your logical mind. It's almost like feeding the logical mind some little treats as it's as your right brain is receiving the majority of the information.
Totally. What do you think about remote viewing, Sean?
I absolutely think it's possible.
I think you'd be really good.
We've seen people. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. We've seen people do it, and it seems like people that are very new at it, picking it up and just with whatever tips and tricks that people have, it's like they just pick it up and just go. And I think the biggest thing is probably just not questioning or doubting the information that you are getting and just going with it.
Yes.
I feel like that's what I would struggle with big time as far as like divination or getting some information and going, that sounds stupid. Why would I even say a pink flamingo or something like that? It's like, where'd that come from? And so I think just not doubting yourself is the biggest thing.
When I was learning, what we would do is there would be a target and I would start drawing over here. I don't know if you could see, start drawing over here, but like on the side of my paper, I would just write down any information I thought, even if it was batshit crazy or I was totally off, like pink flamingo, right? It might be, not a pink flamingo, but like giving yourself the space to allow for wrong answers just to be on the paper, and go back to it. Like if, let's say it's Mount Rushmore, right? So you feel like, for me, it would be like natural,
as far as the feelings that you're picking up on.
Yes, yeah, it's like a natural matter. But then if I get pink flamingo, right? I would write pink flamingo down, but then I'd go back to it. Like, do I feel like I can go back and put it in there with Mount Rushmore? Yes or no? And if I do, who cares? But like, if not, I just keep it on the side. They're called AOLs, and I don't even know what that stands for. It's like analytical overlay.
Oh, you're on fire.
Let's go.
They never come to me that fast. I'm jealous.
I know. That's incredible.
It's past my bedtime. I'm like firing. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
You're in the in-between realm now.
Yes. It was Ed May. Dr. Ed May just got me in the state,
Oh, that's the best. Yes. Well, I think that we need to, we've talked about how people can learn to be a little bit more lucid in their dreams, or maybe help remember their dreams. And the best way to be able to do that, of course, some people will say, drink some apple juice or drink some orange juice or drink a lot of water. So it forces you to get up in the middle of the night, or you're drinking all these fruit juices and it's giving you like that sugar rush to help you stay aware or whatever. But I feel like the best thing that you can do is, as soon as you wake up, document whatever you dreamed, because obviously that kind of image will start to fade as the day goes on. But as soon as you wake
5 minutes afterwards.
And that's the problem, is that as soon as you wake up, and I ain't trying to write something down, first of all, I mean, it's required that I sit and scroll on my phone for at least a half an hour. And you know what I mean? It's like, why are we doing that? Why am I doing this?
So I've been trying to not get on my phone first thing and like try to like practice gratitude first thing in the morning. And I'm telling you, I feel so much better. Like if I go to like reach for my phone, I'm like, damn it. I'm like back in the muggle cycle, not in the muggle cycle, but like, it's just, I don't know. So writing your dreams down, practicing gratitude, whatever it is, I think is great. And back to what you were saying, apple juice, grape juice, it might work for some people, but like, I know a lot of psychics that smoke and drink and do a lot of shit, like everybody's different, and whatever floats your boat, dude, do it.
Yes.
I like my psychic to party.
Yeah, totally. I'm happy to help you remote view or give you guys targets. It'd be so fun.
That'd be great.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
When can we do that?
Ooh, anytime. Oh, how about this? I will get a target probably tomorrow morning, and I'll send you guys an email that says, please access and describe target 3ZB216. And then you guys get back to me with whatever you guys write down or draw. And if you nail it, amazing. If you don't, amazing. I think it's awesome that you guys are even open to it.
Oh, hell yeah, we're open to it.
It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so good.
And what I learned as far as the whole astral projection thing is that, sometimes there's like I think it's called a target number or a program number or some kind of random ass number that you just say. Or some people will give like coordinates. And what I find super fascinating about both of them is that obviously the scrambled random set of numbers and letters shouldn't mean anything, right?
Right.
And obviously even the coordinates. I don't know about you. I literally have tattooed on my arm the coordinates of where I was born, and if I covered it up, I wouldn't be able to guess the first number, right? So like, who knows coordinates? It's like I don't even know west from north. It's like I don't know these things, like not intuitively, but but it's so strange whenever these things. It's like this. You're almost giving your brain a bit of data that only your subconscious understands, and you're able to go there and feel it and see it and maybe taste it and get a little weird with it.
Yep.
Why do you think that is? Like, is that
it's the quantum field that has like all of the answers. So like I was working a human trafficking case, and this was in the Dominican Republic, and I I got this, I don't remember it right now off the top of my head, but like a specific beach that I could see in my mind's eye. I saw it in a meditation. This is about a year ago. But I got the name of a beach in the Dominican Republic. It's like, how on earth would I be able to get a name of a beach? But the information is out there.
Yeah,
isn't that like the X-Files? The info's out there or whatever.
I wouldn't even be able to point to the Dominican Republic on a map. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
No.
We're totally weak geographically over here.
Dude, I can't do my kids' 5th grade math. I like peaked in 4th grade. It's awful. Yeah.
And even then I needed help, you know?
Totally. I'm like using a calculator, chat, GPT.
Yeah. And fractions, forget about it. You know,
that's what he's doing right now.
I remember crying when I was a little kid because I just couldn't understand what the hell I was supposed to do. Like, wait a minute, these bottom numbers are different. Now I don't know what to do. You know, it was easy. Now. The example was so much easier than this. You know what I mean?
Every time.
Like, why do they do that?
Like, how does X become a number? I'm like, great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
But
so many questions.
But it's interesting with all this kind of stuff, especially the way that Bentov explains it, is that, you know, there is this field of information that is constantly around you. And depending upon maybe your frequency or your vibration, you're able to align with that, you know, that field of information that is always around you. And the way that he describes it is and we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum at this point, is that your thoughts aren't even your own. So whenever you even receive a message and you are able to identify, well, you know, even the thoughts that I normally have aren't my own, and I'm kind of just taking them in because that's what I got my receiver tuned in at. It's like, well, once I'm tuned in at this other frequency, whatever comes in, that's what I was trying to align to in the first place. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more direct, and maybe that's where it comes from in the first place.
So in that same state, that's where like artists write songs, poems, authors write. There is a Telepathy Tapes podcast episode about how thoughts are out in the ether or whatever. And they go on to interview this author who was writing a book and she couldn't finish it. She was like, I just got blocked. I got writer's block. Later on down the road, sat down, had lunch with her other writer friend, wrote and completed the book that the original author that got writer's block, the same freaking book.
Wow.
Same thought. Yeah. It's like,
you know, and a very similar kind of thing. Why I am led to believe that kind of thing is because, and I've told this story before, but Dolores Cannon was, she was given somebody a past life regression once, and this person was supposed to go into a past life, but it ends up that this person is essentially like kind of channeling or going into the life of what seemed to be modern day in real time Nostradamus, and was able to get all the information. Cut to that person. She ended up, you know, giving that person a few sessions trying to understand and fulfill all the rest of the prophecies and all that kind of stuff that Nostradamus was doing. But after a while, that person had to leave, like had to move or something like that. So she wasn't able to finish like writing down what the prophecies actually meant. Cut to the next person that she fucking hypnotizes is able, like Dolores didn't give her any of this information, nothing like that. The next person that she hypnotizes is picking up exactly where Nostradamus left off.
That's crazy. That's like, so crazy.
You're picking up on a continuous energy field that you were already tapping into.
Yes. I have a story, not that extreme, but in that same remote viewing class with Angela Ford, there was a great friend of mine, still great friends. Her name's Dee. But she has been doing this work for the last like 25 years. She's fantastic. I love her to death. We would have the same target. And let's say it would be a tree on fire in Africa was the target. Okay. So I would get fired. I'm like, whatever it is burning. And she's like, I see a barren tree in the desert. Right. And then we come together and then we got the target, but she was picking up one thing. I was picking up the other. The information's out there. I don't know how to explain it. And I think when we get to the other side, it's all going to make sense. But like right now I think we're in the thick of things over here.
It's the unified field, whatever that is. And for some reason, whenever you're able to tap into, I don't even want to say tap into that field. I think it's about shedding your animalistic human linear mind and and almost tapping into the mind of everything, it seems like.
Totally. Cheryl Page. Have you guys heard of Cheryl Page?
I don't think so.
I have not.
She's an author. She's been on several of the Life with Ghost podcasts. She's an incredible medium. She does meditations. Her website's great, but she is a great place to start with like all of this stuff and just being like, there's no wrong answers. Like, just it's a very safe place to kind of like hone your craft in a way. Craft. I mean, whatever it is.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So whenever let's say you're trying to give somebody a message, right? And maybe you go into a meditative state, whatever you got to do to put yourself there where you need to, where you can receive this information. And like, whenever you're having like, let me try and see how I want to frame this. Like, let's say the first thing that comes into your mind, are you just going with it, or you're like, all right, that seems kind of weird or whatever? Like, are you trusting exactly what comes to your mind in that moment? Or does your like chatterbox mind ever get in the way?
It doesn't happen so much anymore, but it used to. Or like one thing would come through, and I'd be like, and then like write it down. I would get really, really excited, and then distracted. Whereas now I just focus. I do the numerology, and then I kind of there's like a format that I do. I get the basic numerology. I kind of like to channel that person's energy and kind of see where they're coming from or what they're going through. And then see if there's any loved ones that want to come through. But really it's the loved ones coming through more strongly. So that's how I've been starting a majority of my readings.
And it doesn't take you long to get to that state?
I have to be in like the right setting. Like, my kids, I need to be in a quiet place with like my headphones on. I cannot be distracted. I need to be calm, caffeinated for sure, and just able to write everything down, like, and to be able to focus. Because if I can't focus, or the dogs are barking, or my kids are fighting, or my husband's listening to music or whatever, there's no way.
Yeah, I could see how that could be an issue. Well, I was gonna say, hey, would it be weird if we asked for a little reading? But we want to make sure you're in the right setting for these kind of things.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I would do it after we get off of the phone, and then I would go, do you know what? I will do a reading when I send you guys the targets.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I just
perfect.
love this kind of stuff. I used to
it's so good.
Like my original podcast studio used to be in the back of like this metaphysical like crystal shop, when we knew the owner and everything, and she was real cool and didn't charge us any rent or anything. It was amazing. And
That's awesome.
And then I ended up having to move to Texas, and so I'm out here now, and so now I'm in a walk-in closet. That's where my studio is.
Listen, I'm in our guest room. You're in good company.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even matter. I mean, you close your eyes, you're in heaven if you want to,
Do you know what's interesting is that have you met anybody like that's open to the metaphysical space in Texas?
In Texas, actually, before I moved out here, one of our good friends actually lives like an hour away, and so
good.
I actually was able to give him a past life regression. Shout out to Electro Nick. But I don't really go and meet too many people. I met some of his friends, which were really open and cool with a lot of this kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm not going to go to a grocery store and be like, hey, can you astral project? You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, it'd be cool if they could answer it, but they probably look at me.
I don't even do that. If I'm not focused and trying to tap in, like I'm not on all the time for like people at the grocery store or the restaurant. Like, I'm very much like, I want permission before I tap in, because I don't want somebody breaking into my house and like going through all my things without permission. In the same way, like, I'm not tapping in being like, oh shit, like there's like serious ethics, and it's like, it's very serious.
Oh yeah.
And plus I don't want to like make them mad.
I imagine that would be difficult, like especially when you get this energy of like someone's body part or something, and you're like, I normally wouldn't say anything, but this time for some reason I feel very strong to tell them something.
Yes.
And so
yes.
how would you like navigate that? I feel like that would be
I don't
difficult.
know. Typically, if I'm given information and I'm like, are you sure? Like, to my spirit team, I'm like, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. Then I trust them completely. They have never once lied to me, like, ever. They've never lied. They only want the best. And so if that's what they're saying, I'm like, okay, cool. And if not, then yeah, that lady, my friend Kenda, who I talked to you about, her mother is still very much like grieving, but she has no idea that all of this has like happened to me. And so I'm like, I don't have the thumbs up to like talk to her about everything,
Right.
but gosh, I really wish I could,
I bet.
Yeah, it can
so
definitely be pretty
everything's
intrusive if the person is not open to it.
Yeah, it's like nearly abusive. It's so rude.
Yeah.
Like I really respect what people believe, and like I do not read. I don't work on cases without the family's consent or like a representative's consent. Like, nope. And you know what's crazy? I think you guys would think this is interesting. Is I definitely did. Some people don't want to be found.
No.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? And I'm just like, wow, that really. They're like, I'm happier in heaven. I'm with my guardian angels. Like they're chilling with like the peeps on the other side, and they're blissed out. And they're like, I did not live like a great life. Like the people around me really put me in a shitty situation. So I don't care to be found.
Oh, you
Like,
mean
that's
people
really interesting.
like people
That
on the
have
other
passed already.
side?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if there's a missing person, right? There's a missing person, and let's say hypothetically that a mother put their 5-year-old in the back seat of a car, and then the daughter went missing, right? The daughter would pass away, and then when I am working with certain law enforcement, I would tap into the daughter. Who what's interesting is like if she comes through, I know she's passed. If not, then I kind of have to like channel her energy. But I know that this little 5-year-old did pass, and she was like, my mom like did this to me, and I don't want to give them like not it was like not ill will. Like I'm just so much happier here. Like I'm good,
Do
and you
they?
gotta respect it.
So the example there of the 5-year-old, whenever you're hearing this information from the 5-year-old who's on the other side, are you hearing it as a 5-year-old voice?
I see her as a 5-year-old. I don't hear it, like I feel it and I see her.
Whoa.
Yeah, she feels like a 5-year-old, like, but she's fully whole, fully healed, like not sad, not upset. Like there's no sadness over there. Like it's just unconditional love and like max joy, and like she was blissed out. And I was like, good for her, like that's so cool.
So I imagine you probably look at like death in general as like
I'm the wrong person to talk to about.
Well, no, but I mean, like, when talking about the other side, it seems
to
like
you guys,
pretty
but to
awesome.
muggles.
Right.
Oh,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
the other side, it almost seems like way more awesome than this physical incarnation.
Yes, everything that I've seen, it has totally changed my perspective. I personally am not afraid to die. When I hear about somebody dying, I'm like happy for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, like I really am. And it's like, it's for us that are grieving here. Like, I think that like, I don't believe in hell anymore. Like, I just don't. Like, I think that like what we're going through is a version of hell. Like, and it's not hellish, but like,
but it can be.
But like child shootings, like school shootings and shit like that, like that is like that's nasty, There's nothing like that over there that I have seen in my lived experience. And everybody can believe whatever they want, but like I very much feel like when somebody passes, I'm happy for them.
Dude, there's this movie I was just watching the other night, and I definitely suggest everybody to try and watch it because it's awesome. I think it's on Netflix or something like that, but it's called The Discovery. Have you ever seen this?
Okay. No, I haven't even heard of it.
All right. So it has Jason Segel from what was that show?
I know what you're talking about.
How I Met Your Mother. He was on How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, that was not what I was thinking.
The tall, goofy dude. But anyway, he's like the main character, and his dad ends up finding proof that whenever people die, they go to a much like better place, right? And it's proof, and this word gets out, and it's he labels it the discovery, right? Well, in that movie, whenever that information gets out, there's like mass suicides everywhere. Like people are killing themselves because they know that it has been proven that the other side is way better. And I don't know if that would actually be the case, if that was the case, but man, it almost does make you wonder, because you hear about how, and I would never kill myself, just want to throw that out there. But you hear how awesome it is over there. And then like most people are just struggling and barely getting by and all that kind of stuff over here. It's like, man, it just sounds so sick over there. But anyway, that movie, it goes through like,
so but no, I'm with you.
But that movie kind of goes into like all the people that maybe on the fence or maybe even believe it are still like, that's just not the way to do it. Like you don't want to hurry up and rush that process, because maybe you're the one that initially made the decision to come over here, and maybe it's karma you got to work out, or you were meant to have this life and you're not meant to really cut it short kind of deal. But I mean, if there was absolute proof, I mean, how could you even blame somebody for wanting to do that?
Right. My personal experience is that when I connect with my ancestors, right, they're very much like rooting for us. They are advocating for us. They are I always say wheel and deal, but I don't want it to be like negative. They're like networking for our greatest good. So like your buddy, back to Banks, right? Yeah, Banks is like, oh, let's put on this song, and I'm going to appear to his son, so he says hi to me, and just so I can blow, Jonathan's mind. Like they're always, there's no coincidences. They are like, and they're working overtime. Like they don't get tired. They're just like, that's what they like to do, because they understand how hard it is down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
that sounds
theory.
like something he would want to do anyways. Not even just being on that side. He would want to just blow our mind.
Oh, totally. I joke around with my kids all the time. Like, hey, listen, if I pass, I'm gonna come scare you.
Yeah, of course.
But don't be mean.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mess with you. Maybe I'll tickle your piggies underneath
just
the
my
sheets,
son,
but...
just my son, just my son. He knows
I'm
that.
gonna get your pigs.
I'm like, you better be nice.
But you had mentioned about how you kind of trust is it your guides or your spirit guides, whatever you called them, like. How were you able to discover who that team is?
Meditation.
Really? And does it seem like, can you describe that? Like what maybe they feel like or look like, or is it somebody that you've ever heard of, or what is that?
Yep. I have my grandmother, my grandfather. I have Archangel Michael. I have like a light being that's there, and these light beings show up all the time. What's interesting is that on the telepathy tapes, these like autistic children talk about the light beings and Archangel Michael, like from all over the world, like without knowing each other. It was just fascinating. And I think that's it. There was like you guys are going to laugh at this. There was like at the very, very beginning is like, she looked like a Muppet, like remember Muppet Babies?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, and her name was Nikki. She was like short and, but she would wear like tall platform, like shoes, and she was just real sassy, and she'd always make me laugh. And I'm like, is that my imagination, or is that like actually somebody who's on my team? I believe it's just somebody that's on my team, but she was there for like comedic relief when I was like unsure, lighten
the tone a little bit, getting a little too serious on yourself. Right.
Totally. You can just Google like, spirit team guided meditation, meet your spirit team.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I feel like we've done something along those lines, and I've always been kind of curious, your first thought is like, well, maybe it's just my ancestors, maybe, your grandparents or whatever that has passed. And I've had psychics tell me that like, oh yeah, your great grandparents, and describe them to a T, which is crazy to me. But and say that, they're watching over you and they're cheering you on and stuff like that. And I felt close to them and other relatives and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, like I have never felt more close to any kind of guide or assistance from the other side than Banks. Like that is the most prominent energy that I've ever felt.
Yes. Totally. My friend Kenda is definitely on my team. Oh my gosh. So I was getting ready to come out publicly, and I was going to do like a podcast that was going to be public. So I'm like, okay, I need to get together with like my friends, and they got to hear it from me first that all this stuff has been happening. Anyways, I had to give a reading for each one of the guests, and my point of contact, of course, was the skeptic. And I'm like, oh great, So he wants a reading, and for him, I see this 17, 18-year-old, like they were from Boston, like a Boston baseball player, somebody I would have partied with back in high school, like fun, just charismatic. And he was like, had a message for him, but like he was somebody I would have hung out with like back in the day, right? And before I like give him his reading, I'm like, text him, right? I'm like, did you, and this is early, right? Did you have a friend who played baseball that passed? And I just take my phone and flip it over. Like, I don't want to see the answer. Like, because if you say no, how am I going to go on your podcast and be like, right. Anyways, so at that time, I flip my phone over and my friend Kenda pops in my head for the first time. She pops in my head and she goes, hey, Nichole, do you think we'd bring you this far along to embarrass you? I was like, oh, dang. And then she goes, flip over your phone. She's like in my head. And I'm like, flip over my phone. Okay. And I'm like, ooh, and I flip over my phone. And he's like, yeah. Like my best friend in high school passed away. I'm like, did you guys play baseball together? And I was like, Kenda coming through in the clutch.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
That'll help you learn to develop that trust into those messages, huh?
Exactly. Wow. So I'm like, I'm coming out public. I don't care anymore. Now I'm just like, who cares what people say? I really like them so much on the other side.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the way I see
it over there.
Yeah. The way I see it is that there are some people who are baseball card collectors or who are really into anime, or maybe they have, whatever weird thing that they're into. And it's like, okay, everybody's allowed to have their own hobby or whatever the case may be. And that's kind of the way I see it. Now, maybe what we're into and what we like talking about, and maybe what the things that we like to develop are a little, off the hinge, off the hook a little bit, whatever. But it is still something relatable to whatever anybody else's hobby would be. So
I think it's amazing.
That's kind of the way I go about it. I'm like, dude, I don't even feel, I don't care if somebody looks at me like I'm weird or I lost my fucking mind or anything like that. Like, this is what I'm into. You might be into watching fucking old reruns of Pokemon. I'm not going to judge you for that. It's we all have our things.
Maybe anime. I'm like, ooh, I do anime. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like, I think that this is so central to who we are at our core that every human has had a situation to where they're like, oh, 11/11, why do I keep on seeing that? Or, grandmother passed away and then there's a hummingbird. Like, whatever it is, it's like our soul's native language. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody is drawn to that, whether they'll admit it or not.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
It's so funny that you said 11/11. As soon as anybody says a number, I immediately look up at the clock or
what time it is.
That. And it's exactly 22 minutes away from being 11/11. So just want to throw that out.
Awesome. Oh, that's way cool.
Yeah. Well, look, this was such a fun conversation. Thank you so much for coming to spend the time with us.
Thank you so much. I've got new friends. Sean, Jonathan, this is an honor. Thank you so much. I'm pumped. And I will get back to you guys with your reading and your target.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Well, look, before we let you go, we do have a tarot card, sir, don't we?
Oh, yes. We do. We got the Fool, which is perfect because you're so brand new, in your journey,
I love
it. The excitement and everything else. And so
I like it. I like it. New beginnings. I'm here for it.
Yes. Well, we like
you're the horse.
Yes, that big horse energy, baby. But we like to go into our handy dandy guided tarot book and describe it a little bit. So the fool, it says, the fool embarks on a new journey, leaving the past behind, carrying with him only the lessons learned and a curiosity to begin again. Each card carries the energy of the ones that came before it, beginning with the Fool, who carries the energy of zero, a symbol that contains everything and nothing at the same time. The Fool progresses through the lessons and events shown by each card of the major arcana, growing, experiencing, and maturing as his consciousness evolves. In the imagery of the Fool's card, you see a young person in a floral print tunic. The Fool looks to the bright yellow sky with the sun to his back and blissfully unaware that he is about to walk off of a cliff. Carrying only a bindle and a white rose, he is innocent and free of life's burdens. He's ready to take on whatever may come his way, his arms outstretched, suggesting openness to new possibilities without fear of failure. A small dog prances alongside the Fool, attempting to alert him of the dangerous cliff that he is headed toward. This is the path of unfolding consciousness, a symbol of the Fool's willingness to meet life's challenges in order to make progress. And the spiritual message behind it says, take a leap of faith and trust that you have the support of the universe. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Instead, acknowledge that the lessons you encounter will lead to expanded consciousness and unforeseen opportunities. They are a part of your personal and spiritual evolution. Let's go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like how even the dog is like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that.
I like the dog
outside of the program right now, you know?
But he's got a friend. He's not going alone.
Yes, and
Perfect.
and some
That's
people
good.
interpret the dog as being like one of his guides too, which is pretty
Oh,
cool.
I love that. Now, like when we moved to the farm, we only had 2 dogs, right? And then all this opening up, I would go to the Humane Society and I would like talk to the dogs. I'm like, you have to come home. Like now, I'm like, now we have 5 dogs and growing. I really want to have like a animal rescue eventually.
Oh, yes.
Well, that'd be
That's
so
cool.
cool. I love that the dog was there. All that to say, I'm pumped that the dog was there. I love him.
Come to mama. You deserve
Yes.
to come home.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, so we have 37 dogs now, you know.
Those not including the cats. No.
Yeah, we call it
2
a
cats.
rescue, but we just feel bad. We're just taking them all in at this point.
I would, and I want horses. I want the whole bill.
Of course.
I want all of them.
Yes.
So cool.
Nichole, can you tell our listeners, we call them the initiates, could you tell them where they could find you and all your good work?
Thank you so much. Nichole Duncan Intuitive on Instagram and TikTok. Or if you want a reading, you can go straight to my website, NicholeDuncanIntuitive.com.
Perfect. All right.
Awesome.
Sean,
Awesome.
any parting words for you, sir?
Oh, this was so cool. Just the energy that you bring to this show, it like gets me excited about all of this
Yay.
again. You know,
Good,
because
good,
sometimes
good.
I feel like I let the logical mind take over a little bit too much, and then I start to question, like, is any of this really that deep, or is it all just kind of made up and we're just kind of, going with it, and some things happen seemingly magically, and and it's like, oh, maybe that's a coincidence. So I kind of go back and forth all the time, but
Yeah.
just your excitement and the validation that you've gotten and the things that you're able to do it's exciting.
Thank you so much.
yes.
Cheryl Page is a great resource, and she's like, if I don't have to say it on the evening news, then what? And I'm like, that is so nice and freeing, right? So
Absolutely.
let your freak flag fly, boys.
Yes.
That's
yes.
right.
Yes. Well, thank you. This was an honor, guys.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This was a great conversation. We definitely would love to have it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Look, if Nichole Duncan came here and she taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
She was fucking cool, huh?
That was awesome. Yeah, that was fun.
I was actually shocked that she wrote back. I messaged her because I saw somebody else interviewing her, and I was like, dude, it'd be so sick if we can get her on. And that's usually how it starts. I'll see somebody else's video. Maybe it was hers or something that was suggested, and I'm like,
Yep.
all right, that's our kind of people. And
Yeah. Somebody
yes.
that can just take it like that and just like pump the energy and like,
Oh, yeah.
that's good. Really
yeah,
good.
she's I'm happy you said what you said, because it, like, people like that will get you excited about
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn this kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's how I was feeling. I was just like, oh, it is real. It is real. You know, like for whatever reason, I feel like I just, man, sometimes I allow the logic to take over a little too much, you know, and I don't know why, you know, I don't know. I think what it is I don't want to be like tricked or, you know, you go through an awakening and you realize like things aren't what you thought, right? And so then you also don't want to have that happen again, you know, into something else that's also not true, you know, and it's like you're trying to figure out what's real and what's not, what's true and what's not, and then, you know, for me, like whenever something gets into, not that she said anything like that, but like just for other stuff, you know, like whenever I was thinking about aliens and I was thinking like, you know, some people can get a little dogmatic even with the whole alien stuff. And then you look into it and a lot of them come from a religious background. And so they kind of went from one thing to another. And then I'm like, oh, am I like secretly being religious? You know, and it's like, no, I don't want, fuck that. You know, like I don't want anything to do with religion at all.
To be honest, even
You know,
like going all the way logic minded is damn near religion too. If you really think
that's
about it,
true.
like
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely.
it's full on believing in something that maybe because others have proven it and because it's the most, widely accepted, we're just it's
Mhm,
easiest for us to be able to just accept as truth, but a
mhm,
lot of times that's just not the case. So
mhm.
I try and
Oh
balance it
yeah,
out. Like I don't go too far, you got to keep your head in the clouds but your feet on the ground at the same time.
absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to do as well. You know, I don't want to just be all the way one way, and you know, because I know that you know, like the other night, I don't know what day it was. I was feeling kind of like down, and just kind of the energy of everything going on lately,
Mhm.
and I was thinking like, oh, you know, let me go outside. I put my feet on the ground, and I was looking up. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to see something right now. Like other people have, you know, whenever they're feeling low and like, oh, they see something in it and it brings them up, and I know that they always come out whenever I say something or think about them, and you know what I mean. And not one fucking thing happened, and I'm like, I feel like that's the danger in having that belief system. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
somebody could be really fucking down, dude. And like, oh, you know what? Just show me. I know that you're there. Show me. And if you care, you'll show yourself. And then they don't. It's like
Right.
that's that looking outwardly thing that can be troublesome.
That's
You know?
that's
So
the
like,
lack.
yeah, that's like, oh, you know. So if I don't see anything, then I know that I'm not worthy. And then you're back to, you know what I'm saying? Like I can see all of the angles, and I'm like, it's such a weird rope to walk,
Yeah, I
you
mean, at
know,
that point,
because
you almost just got to bring the hangman with you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Just let
oh,
go.
just
Whatever
let go,
happens,
whatever.
happens.
Yeah, and that's kind
Um,
of where I've been lately, dude. I've been kind of more just not expecting anything, you know, in the sky or anywhere really. You know,
dude,
just kind of letting things unfold.
so you know that girl, Corey, who had all the crazy videos
Oh, right.
that we had on the
Hmm.
show, like last
Yeah.
week or whatever it was.
Mhm.
Um, she told us about the camera that she had, and I
Oh, you
messaged
you went
her.
and got one, right?
Yeah, so I ended up
Uh-huh.
getting it's called the Psionics Aura Pro. She has the Psionics Aura Black, and the Pro is the more expensive one, right? And so
Okay.
I was looking around on prices, and they seem to be like super, like pretty fucking expensive, like 800 or 900 bucks. And so I
Mhm.
was like, I got the rent. I never shop on eBay, bro. Like I never do.
Right.
And so I just got like this weird itch. I was like, let me check eBay. Found one brand new. They only took it out of the box just to make sure that it had everything in it. It wasn't even used.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up finding it for 500, and so I bought it.
Oh,
And
nice.
dude,
Nice.
I had it shipped to Louisiana because it wasn't going to be getting in until I was already going to be there. So I had it shipped
Oh,
over to my
okay.
sister's house
Yeah.
and pulled it out. And the first night, I told everybody, I was like, all right, tonight we're going to go see some orbs. I was saying, like,
Uh-huh.
maybe we'll see some UFOs or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
And so I told all the kids to come out there with me, bro. Fucking, I think we waited maybe a minute or two, and I had
Mhm.
all the well, not all the kids. I think it was just Kenzie, Maddie, and Anna,
Mhm.
and everybody was out there looking. Everybody found their own individual orb, and I was able to capture it on camera. Right, Dude, one of them, I found one and I was filming it. And then another one came into into the camera view. And dude, they fucking started like interacting with each other. You know how most of the times
Really?
they'll go like in a straight line, right?
Yeah, that's what I always see, and I'm like, okay,
Dude,
that's not like wowing me,
dude, let
you
me tell
know?
you, I think us seeing them in a straight line is somewhat of an optical illusion because whenever I'm looking at it, it seems like if I'm just not through the camera, but if I'm just looking at it out there in space or whatever, it looks like a straight line. But whenever you kind of like zoom in a little bit with your camera, dude, they're going and down and up and dude, so anyway,
Really?
I was watching one of them
Because I
and
always hear people say, "Oh, they're swimming," and I feel
that's
like
what it
I've
looks
seen
like.
that, but I feel like it just because with my naked eye, I'm like, oh, that's just an illusion in itself,
Right,
like my
right.
eyes are constantly trying to focus on it, and so it's just naturally giving it that little
I'm
swim.
gonna I'm gonna upload the video at some point. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
do that tomorrow.
Okay.
And I was zooming in on this one, and it seemed like it was going like weird like that, right?
Uh huh.
And you can tell that it's kind of swimming because of where the stars are, because this camera is able to catch all the stars too. And
Yeah.
it almost seems like it's going up and around the stars and below the
Right.
stars and all this other shit, right? Well, then this fucking other orb came into the frame and they were interacting with each other. Dude, the one fucking it was going at a decent pace and then it slowed down almost to interact with it and then it drops, bro. Like it drops. And it was the craziest shit. I was like, okay, this is
And
my first night.
you were holding the camera, or did you have it on a tripod,
No, just
or
I'm holding it, but I
okay?
have the resolution of all the other stars that are around it, and
Oh, okay.
I'm holding it like center, right, the best that I can with my
Yeah.
own hands or whatever.
Yeah.
But how to tell that it's not just me moving the camera is that you can see the backdrop of the other stars that are up against it,
And
right?
they didn't drop either,
No,
so they
no,
were still kind of in frame, and that thing just
yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Like, and I was like, holy shit, my first night having this, and I already got an
Right.
awesome video.
Yeah. I almost wonder, because I believe there's definitely something going on with that, with what people are saying, because people are saying, oh, they're taking sharp angle turns, and like if I saw something like that, like if I saw some orb just and just like do some impossible thing, then I'd be like, absolutely for sure, I know now.
Yeah.
I haven't had that, and so
Wait till
so
I
I,
upload this video. It's gonna blow your fucking mind, dude.
well, I believe people are having that experience, and so I know that there's something to it, you
Hmm.
know, but I just haven't. And maybe what it is that I'm supposed to be doing something else, and this is what I'm thinking. Like whenever she was like, "Oh, I'd be interested in seeing, your remote viewing capability or whatever," she was kind of trying to pump me up or whatever, but I feel like maybe it's something else that I'm supposed to be putting energy into, like doing that. Like, but it's funny because that's the one thing that I feel like I used to be super fascinated by it. Like, it was the one thing that I would always talk to strangers about. Like, not strangers, but like people at work. Like, you believe in aliens? You know what I mean? That was just like one little stupid thing that I would kind of
Hmm.
bring up just to kind of see where they are, if they're open or if they're. And so it'd be really interesting if that's like not the thing I personally should be putting funneling energy into,
Dude,
because I'm not having those experiences,
let me tell you.
you know?
And I used to think that too. But what I found was literally earlier that day, because I got there on Thursday. The camera didn't come until Friday. I was going to be having a hypno session at 3, which I ended up having. But the camera wasn't supposed to be getting there until like 4:30 or something like that, right? So I wasn't going to be able to have it. The camera came in like at 2, like so an hour before my hypno session. So I was pretty
Mhm.
excited about it. But I give the fucking hypno session, and then I later that night is whenever I caught it. So I almost similar to what you're saying. I almost feel like you got to be doing what maybe you're supposed to be doing in order to allow this stuff to happen,
Right.
kind of thing. Not necessarily that
Absolutely.
it's not for you, but maybe
Uh-huh.
you're not fully doing the thing that you want to do to allow this kind of extra shit to happen
Yeah,
almost time.
absolutely. Like I'm there's some kind of blockage, preventing from. Oh shit, my chair almost fucking broke. No, what it is this thing will shift up, and like without me knowing, and then it'll just shift down out of nowhere. Like it's happened in the middle of a show, and I'm just
Hate
like,
that. Yeah.
embarrassing, dude.
But
But
it
yeah,
is.
no, I think there's something to it, but I don't know. Maybe I've just been kind of weird about it. Not weird in the sense of I think it's a negative thing. I think, like I was saying before, as far as people getting, I feel like whatever people are thinking about it, or like the whole idea of God, right? Like you say the word God, my
Mhm.
mind goes to the going narrative of what God is.
Right.
Like that's what I am thinking people are going to just automatically understand or go straight to thinking about,
Right. Right.
and so whenever we get into like the orb thing and people are like, oh, it's this, and all of a sudden they know exactly what it is, and there's a lady, and there's a time frame when something's going to happen, and it's starting to sound like a rapture type of situation.
Yeah.
It's getting into like weird, like unnecessary territory for me.
I don't even go into that. And you've said it before that you look at it like it's just consciousness. Like everything is just
Right.
consciousness. It doesn't need a
Right.
name. It doesn't need a
Hmm.
hierarchy or anything like that.
Yeah.
Almost just look at it as if it is just a pure ball of consciousness, right?
Hmm.
And like, just like, inside of us, we are just that anyway, right? Like
Hmm.
inside of everybody, that spark we would just call consciousness. And
Right.
so now what I believe, this is whenever I'm looking at it, I don't think, oh, it's the Pleiadians or oh, it's the fucking Draconians or whatever. I'm
Right.
like, yo, that's just another like version of whatever I am.
Hmm.
And now it's like, all right, well, if that's consciousness, and if it is consciousness, then what I believe and what I kind of understand about consciousness is that you can kind of like conversate with it, and
Hmm.
and from everything that we've talked about, I believe that they could be telepathic. Right? Like if
Right.
it is just consciousness, then obviously it doesn't have to deal with this fucking skin suit that we're battling with in our own mind.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
is just the highest form of itself kind of thing.
And I'm gonna be
And
honest, when it comes to the not to cut you off, but the telepathy that would be going on between you and said orb, I feel like is not like what you would think. Kind of like a past life regression isn't what you think.
right.
Kind of like the astral travel, or what was the thing you were talking about earlier? Like, is it kind of like that? And she was like, oh yeah, it's exactly like that.
I like
Like
remote viewing,
remote viewing and
astral
not
projection.
astral projection,
Okay.
right? I feel like, yeah, they're very much alike, but if you were to actually astral project, you would be like, oh, that's astral projection. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not what I thought it was.
Right.
And if you get an intuitive hit on an image of something that you're trying to remote view, you're like, oh, that's what it is. Like, because you imagine, I think we always make things a little more like fantastical, right? Like
Yeah.
in our mind, we assume a past life regression. We're going to just dream, and we're going to be experiencing, like literally experiencing this screen in front of us, and we're able to see everything in full detail. But it's not that, it's. But you're still experiencing something, and you're getting information, and you're in this experience, and it's a real thing. But it's not what you thought it was going to be. And then when it comes to telepathy, it's more so like, I mean, I could be wrong, but maybe it's more so just tapping into that information or whatever it is. It's not so much you're like, oh, what did you say? Oh, you say to, you know what I mean? It's more
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
your own, what you would confuse with your own thought.
Yes.
That's what's happening when people are like, oh, they communicate with me, and so like I'm starting to understand that kind of stuff a little bit more. And it's like
And,
a lot of this isn't what you think it is. Like
but I also know that it's not something that's unachievable, and not to put
right.
down any of the people that we've talked to, but
Hmm.
I don't believe that any of the people that we've had on the show are that much more evolved than the regular person who's into this kind of stuff.
Right.
So it has to
Hmm.
be something within reach.
Well,
And
what it
the way
is
that my
what.
mind processes that information that has to be within reach is, all right, if I was to do it, how would I interpret it?
Right.
Because it's all going to be going through your own lens of how you interpret it that allows the click or the download or whatever to happen in the first
The
place.
click, right? Like how she was saying, as far as like some people are just more gifted. What I was thinking about was some people. have an experience, or they're just in this point in their journey where a couple more than one thing lines up at the same time, and they have this like click, this profound knowing, and they just, and then immediate validation, and so they just like, oh, I know there's no going back, I absolutely know it, I never have to question that. So going forward, they just sharpen that tool, because they know it's there, they
Right.
don't ever have any moment of like,
Questioning it.
oh, this isn't real. What am I doing? I'm an imposter, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're like, no, I've had this one thing where it was like a perfect a divination where there's no way I could have pulled that out of just nowhere. I didn't make that up. Like,
Right.
and it's so perfect. Like the one woman saying, oh, the turtle or whatever, like, well, that's insane. Like the turtle living in an inhumane, habitat or whatever. It's like, but this person already knows they can do it. They're not questioning it no more.
And I think
And
that
so
there are probably
we haven't had that experience.
Well,
as
here's
far
the
as being
difference.
people that are gifted,
I think that we have had those experiences, though, is what I'm trying to say. But the difference is that instead of trying to write it off and trying to deduce it and trying to say, well, it couldn't be this, it couldn't be that, maybe it's not this, and until you whittle it down until it's nothing but, a crumb from the entire cookie that you once had.
Yeah.
Some people will take that information and instead of trying to deduce it, try and stack them up on top of each other. Right. And so I think that the scientific method is good, but if you're only using it to deduce what you experience, then it's a net negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, so
for sure.
I think that it's important to stack these things rather than just completely deduce them all the time.
Absolutely.
There's different. Everybody's mind works differently with that,
and everybody's on their a very different journey, and it's like, for us to just happen to run into an experience where it's just so perfect. Like, yeah, I've had experiences where I felt like, Banks was orchestrating that thing, and I felt close, and I felt like, oh, he's now in that space that I'm familiar with because I use that space with, but I'm in a physical body, so I've had that notion and understanding, but I don't know if I've had a thing happen where I was like, I know it absolutely, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when it comes to, and I was thinking about this today, and I haven't been watching, like, super, like, I really haven't been watching a whole lot of anything. I've just kind of just been experiencing. I go to work, I come home, I make my kids dinner, and like, and everything. But fuck, I was getting somewhere. Fucking lost it. God
all right,
damn
look,
it. It was important. It was not important, but anyway.
It's all important, sir.
Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. Okay, so as far as like energy can't be created nor destroyed, you know where my logical brain goes with that? It goes to, okay, the energy would be our body heat and our physical matter that's going to deteriorate, and other plants and animals are going to consume that energy, and so, like, logically, energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transferred. The body heat that was inside of me gets transferred outside of me, you know what I mean? And like, so like, my logical mind is like satisfied with that, you know what I mean?
Here's what I'll say, if you will allow me, sir, and this has really helped me, and I brought it up in the show, but like, if you would allow me to bend your logical mind over and fuck the ever-living shit out of it here for a second, okay?
All right, man.
So
go for it.
That book that I was referring to, that Stalking the Wild Pendulum, right?
Yeah.
You need, whenever those come out, you need to listen to that. Because
no, that's what I'm most looking forward to, actually.
Bro, it will.
Every time you bring it up, I'm like, I want to know what that is.
Dude, it is fucking awesome. It is. It'll do everything to your logical mind that your logical mind needs.
I need it to be done. Right.
It's like it puts it to where you can understand it both logically and like imaginatively, creatively kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because he's almost working with like maybe like a new science kind of deal. Mm-hmm. The way and it's super easy.
The way that he's putting it together.
The way he's putting it together, it is perfect.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I'm definitely going to listen to those.
Yeah, listen to it because this guy studied it his entire life. And what's really crazy is I think that they killed him.
Oh, really?
Because within the gateway process, like Freedom of Information CIA drop,
Mm-hmm.
they kept on mentioning him. That lieutenant colonel that wrote
Mm-hmm.
the whole paper kept
Yeah.
on mentioning all of his work and everything. That paper was published in 1983. Fucking Bentov, the guy that wrote this book and the guy that he kept on referring to,
Yeah.
died like 5 years before he wrote that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the way he died, dude, he died in a plane crash.
Oh.
And then there was also like another like cutting edge scientist that was also on that plane that died. And so
Oh,
in
right.
my mind, whenever crazy, like off the wall, dude, your chances of dying in a plane, you have literally better odds to hit the lottery than dying in a plane, right?
Right.
Like the odds of you dying in a plane are fucking slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
But he died in this plane because one of the engines on the left, whatever fucking
Mm-hmm.
wing or whatever went out or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, the way that he jots and kind of makes sense of all this, dude, like it is like left brain orgasm
Mm. Okay.
because because your right brain already wants to believe it. You
Yeah.
know, like your right brain is like that dog that's waiting for that
That's
treat.
the one that's constantly like wanting to concoct and mold and work with and create, and for sure that's what
Yeah,
it does.
this book will definitely tell your left brain that you don't know shit.
Just move out of the way for just a minute.
Back it
Right?
up.
Just a minute. Just a minute. All right. Let
Back it
the
on
right
up.
brain get a hold of it. Just from,
It's really good. I think that you'd really
Right.
like it.
Oh no! Every
I
time you mention it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to listen to that. Like,
Oh, and the
100%.
same thing with the whole gateway process. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I'm only doing this shit to better my own understanding. And I know
Yeah.
that everybody else is gonna really love it too. But
Oh
like in
yeah.
my own mind, I also need some of that left brain, like
Move out of the way.
dopamine or whatever it is, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I just I don't know exactly where what it is. I feel like I don't know. I just have to process all of that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like things can just get. I don't know. It's hard to because I don't want to. I mean, we literally do a metaphysical podcast, basically.
Yeah.
Spiritual podcast, and I'm like, are spirits even real? You know what I mean? Like, is that just, And like, then I start to get that fucking imposter, and then everything I say is coming from that, and it's like, ugh, it just makes me weak. Like, it makes me sound like I feel it. I feel the bullshit coming out. You
Well,
know,
I think you're still doing great, and
I
I
appreciate it.
think that it's good to question your own bullshit from time to time,
Hmm.
100%. But
Yeah,
whenever your primary focus is on that, that's not where you want to be.
it's not helpful. No, for sure. No, definitely not, dude. But yeah, I just gotta. There's so much stuff, dude, that we talk about and think about, and you know what I mean. Like I'm to the point where I need to start like narrowing in, because like I'm not that it's bad to be more broad, of course, but like sometimes like how you talked about like the anchor, like okay, I'm right here, but I'm also open to whatever this is, but like I don't know, it's I don't want to be too scattered.
No, no, that's fine, dude. I mean, we'll I that's why I like, kind of going into the documented people who have
Yeah.
really taken note of a lot of this kind of stuff because
Hmm.
these same people that are going through all these scientific processes and dedicating their life to it, I imagine that they're also trying to convince their left brain.
Hmm.
And so if we can see the process of how they convince their left brain in order to allow their
Yeah.
left brain and right brain to merge into one thing, that's
Hmm.
what I'm trying to get to whenever I'm reading this kind of shit you know
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that's what I need. I need a numbers person to be like, look, it's a hologram, all right, or something. I don't know,
Dude.
something to just be like for sure. Even other peer reviewed, everybody's like, yeah, it's definitely more than we think.
Yes, and that's what
But
this
I,
guy
I
this guy explains, that it is a hologram, and he goes into
uh
ways, all the different ways to prove it.
right, and I want to believe that. I want to believe that after this, there's a blast off of whatever you're going to experience, and it's way awesome and all of that. But then I think it's maybe like whenever you hear something that sounds too good to be true, it's like, and then you're like, do we just tell these stories to ourselves to feel better about when that time comes? Like, so I don't know. I'm always kind of just bouncing back and forth, which I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
No,
Like,
it's not.
I'm trying to keep myself in that.
Right. Well, this is definitely going to be for sure.
Okay.
What I needed.
All the way down to your toes. You know what I mean? Super relaxed.
Were you able to envision the whole thing?
Yeah, and it's funny because we saw the amethyst cave, and I was like, oh, okay, I can vibe with that. That's cool. And then the being or whatever it was, I don't know. I figured it was just like humanoid shaped, but just light. And so I kind of ran with that, and I didn't ask any questions or anything like that, but I was enjoying the peaceful, blissed out state though, like very relaxed, dude, all the way back down to baseline.
What prevented you from wanting to ask questions?
Not sure. I think that logical mind wants to kind of hold on to stuff and
let that
kinda,
creative
like, steer
mind
the ship.
let that creative mind just have some fun, bro.
Oh, for sure. I know. Yeah. And maybe it's whenever you ask who your guide is, like I feel like that's, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, man, here I am looking outwardly again. And like I'm trying not to do that so much and go inward, and that's what we were doing, with the meditation. But I don't know. I feel like I'm sometimes still in more control of the meditation than I'd like. I would like for the meditation to just kind of take me into this space, and I've experienced that before, but I feel like too much of my logic was still kind of in there. I wasn't able to fully just let go. Which I feel like it's probably, I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that for sure.
I'm hypnotizing you, bro. It's
No.
coming. It's coming. It's coming. No, we got to set this shit down.
I should have kept my
dude.
mouth shut.
Like,
dude.
you're getting it. We're probably going to do it really soon because
Right.
you got to get out of this fucking brain, dude. Because it is so amazing just to let it go. Like, who cares if you're right? Who cares if you're wrong? Just allow yourself to experience whatever you experience. And even still with this whole guided meditation, you're like, well, there I am, outsourcing what I know I should be, kind of seeing on the inside. Bro, you're in a meditation. That's as inside as you can get.
No, I understand. I understand that, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm visualizing something outside of me, which I feel like it's probably the way to go anyways, because you're able to get yourself out of the way. But just in that particular meditation, I wasn't completely removed. I wasn't out of the way enough. Like I felt like I was still pretty consciously there. You know what I mean? Not just into the depths of the subconscious. And
it was a shorter
meditation.
That.
So yeah, I think, and there's a lot of heavy things going on right now, just in, I won't get into it, but there's just a lot of things going on. And so I think it's just a little bit of that, a little bit of, just work has been crazy. And so, like I said, it brought me down to a very baseline, very relaxed, heart rate's good. Like my body feels relaxed. It feels good. I just didn't get into any kind of, divination or anything like that. I don't know. I think I just need time to process some things, and I think that's okay. I feel like we're gonna have those moments, those times in our life where the pendulum isn't exactly where you want it to be, but here you are, and so you just have to process what you're going through, and what works for some people might not work for you, and I think that's okay too. You just got to find your own groove in that particular space and time.
I'll tell you what, one thing that I've really started to wrap my mind around it, and and we talk about it every episode, is the idea of oneness. So
Mm-hmm.
if we really vibe and really trust the idea and the process, or just how it all works of oneness, then even the idea of something being outward or not with you, it's still all with you. Whether it is in a physical reality, or it
Mm-hmm.
is in a deep meditation, or you are contacting God or angels or spirits or spirit guides or anything like that,
Yep.
like letting all of that be all part of the one in which
Mm-hmm.
you're also in that. And just
Mm-hmm.
almost looking at all of reality, every experience that you ever have, whether inwardly or outwardly, in a good mood, in a bad mood, things are going for me, they're not going for me, whatever the case may be, it's all
Mm-hmm.
still part of one thing,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think that even the idea that of separation is almost convincing your mind that oneness isn't a thing. But
Right.
I know that you don't think
It's
that. It's
elusive.
just
It can be elusive though. I
right.
feel like we've both experienced that for sure.
Oh yeah.
So much so to where it was like, oh, that's just true. It's not something that I have to constantly convince myself of that being like, I understand that, but the putting it to practice as far as like just understanding that like people outside of you that are being shitheads or whatever, it's like, oh, we're one, like can become elusive in times like that, where you see the state of the world and you're like, you just don't see it. It's not something that's obvious unless you're, in a deep meditation, or maybe you're just having one of those days where nothing can really get you down and you're just smiling for no reason. Like we've had those days as well, where it's just, it's so much easier to apply that and accept that and know that. But it can be just elusive at times when things are kind of looking bad, looking down. It's one of those things where I know things are going to pick back up or things are going to get better. It's just one of those natural things that's going to happen in everybody's lifetime is going to experience something like this, but um in those times I just feel like it can be elusive and you kind of just forget, and it's just like out of sight, out of mind. I'm not really seeing those things to give me evidence or to validate that expression, or that thought. And so, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that this is probably the perfect time to like allow that kind of stuff to be true. Like,
Mhm.
and it seems silly to just say that I allow things to be true, but it's almost like, how whenever people believe something, they almost start manifesting it, right? Like
Mhm.
if you believe in God, then maybe every single divine message that you ever get, it has to be from God, or it
Yeah.
has to be from Muhammad, or it has to be from Jesus. It has to be from fucking Apostle Paul if you're a degenerate, right? Like whoever you think is sending you the messages, that is exactly
Mhm.
how your mind is going to interpret it. If
Yeah.
you just allow yourself to believe this kind of stuff, and that's the thing, I think that's the key, is
Mhm.
allowing yourself. You don't
Yeah.
need to this idea where we absolutely always have to be right about everything. That's an illusion. We're
Mhm.
never going to be right about everything, and sometimes we just have to be we just have to allow ourselves to fail, allow ourselves to be wrong, allow ourselves to be right,
Mhm.
and allow ourselves to believe. I think that we are we're the ones that are standing at the gate, almost like those fucking. You ever seen those? What are they called? Like the guards at the gates of like Queen Elizabeth's house or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
With
yeah.
the stupid
Mhm.
long hats.
Yeah.
It's like we are that, and we're allowing or not allowing certain information to pass through the gates of our mind.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just like, yo, take a chill pill. And I'll tell you
Mhm.
what I experienced in that meditation was pretty damn profound. So at first I, got into the comfortable position, did the 3 deep breaths and the 3 deep exhalations and all that kind of stuff. Allowed myself to be able to, uh, see myself as that golden shell and then fill my whole body up with that gold liquid and float up into the universe, and then see the amethyst little cave that she was talking about.
Yeah.
And then after sitting in there and like imagining that I am there, not like pretending, not like wishing, but imagining that I am there. Like, okay, I logically know that I'm sitting in this room, but I also know that our consciousness is not entirely anchored to the body, right? And so if you allow yourself to believe that, like I was saying, it's like, all right, now in my mind, I've accepted that I am in this crystal cave. I am out in the universe. I am in this, golden kind of shell of a body with all this other golden liquid that's going through my body. And I sat there in like meditation. I just imagined that I was sitting like crisscross applesauce in meditation, trying to really, soak in that entire vibe. And then she was like, all right, well, now you're going to see, your guide or whatever sitting next to you, or whatever she said. And I was really trying to just allow it to happen. Like, I'm not trying to force anything. I'm just trying to allow whatever comes to me. And dude, I look over and fucking Banks is like, you thought it was going to be somebody else? Like, it was just like that. And I was like, I know. And I kind of figured that it would be you. And I'm asking him these questions, and he's just smiling like fucking fat Buddha the entire time, right? and I'm like, all right, am I going about life right? And, am I making the right decisions? And one thing that he said was like, not what I give myself enough credence for. And that is, he goes, bro, don't get caught in it. Like, you're trying to, you're getting lost in the sauce almost.
Yeah.
Like, just whatever you're doing is right. Like, you're doing the right thing. Stop questioning yourself. Stop questioning if it's like on your path or anything like that. Just like do whatever you're doing and know that it is your path. And
I love that,
dude, that was like,
that's great.
Really awesome, to hear it. And then, dude, and it was so crazy because I was seeing him smirking at me. Like, come on, man, this shit. Like, it was like that. And it was almost like you need to remember that. And it was crazy because that's exactly the message that I got from the Elohim on the mushroom trip.
Really?
Exactly that. And now I don't remember every single little thing, but I remember Elohim, whatever it was that I was, fucking tripping on, whatever that was, it was like, you're on your path. You stop worrying if you're doing it right or wrong, but you're on the right path. That's the right path is the path that you're on.
The path itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop questioning if you're doing it right or doing it wrong. And Banks was able to take it to the next level. And in a way, he was like, there is no right or wrong. Like, yeah, it's good to have boundaries and it's good to have limitations and everything. But he's like, in the grand scheme, he goes, you're not going to kill somebody, like you're not going to do all these negative things.
Right.
So in that instance, in your mind, of all the possibilities that could come within the boundaries of your mind, there is nothing you can do wrong.
Right.
And man, that was just so nice to hear.
Oh man, that's nice for me to hear that, dude. I'm glad you got that so I could hear it. You know what I mean? That's great, dude.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's funny because it made me think of you instantly because you're always like, especially when we first started shooting, you're like, yeah, I just don't want to say anything that's going to ruffle any feathers and everything. And I would always tell you, I'm like, bro, you don't do that anyway. Like, why are you worried about that?
Well, you know why I'm worried about it is because whenever, especially with what we talk about, man, a lot of the spiritual things, it's all existing. Let's just say, for example, it's in the realm of our mind. That's how we experience it, in a subjective way. And so I definitely don't want to say something that goes against somebody else's matrix or somebody else's, how they see it, and it's like,
we always will,
it's we're always, no matter what, I'm always going to see it differently than you, than anybody, and it's like, yeah, sure, I feel like the initiates, they're all very open-minded, or else they wouldn't even be listening to this. Like I should understand that, and I know that,
and we've
but
weeded out the
even
ones that we offended already anyway.
right,
So.
yeah, and even some of them are still listening, but that's fine. That's on them at this point. But yeah, no, I just, even if I'm not saying something superly offensive, I still realize that people are very strong in what they believe in. They've allowed that information in, and they experience it, and it's true, and then when I go into a meditation and for some reason I'm not able to connect with whatever that is, because of whatever reason I've got going on, maybe I'm just thinking about things a little too logically, which I tend to do. Which is why it's so great that you're doing what you're doing as far as the mystic studies and going into some of these people that are really trying to analyze it scientifically. I mean, let's be honest.
I should have just named it "Convince Your Left Brain." That's really
right.
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. And because and I think it was in the very first episode that you did. It was like whatever you can convince the logical mind of, then the right brain will just run with that.
Ain't
It'll
no
just
filter
take
on the right brain.
it's not. Yeah, it's just gonna. But you have to get it through the logical part of your mind first. And so I feel like that is the guard at the gate that you were speaking of earlier. The guard at the gate, it's like it doesn't want to let bad information in. It doesn't want to allow something in that could potentially hurt you later down the line. Like you allow it through because it looks good. You want it to be true. It seems like it would be the right move, and then you allow it to pass over into your right brain. Your right brain builds and creates and molds and does extra shit as it's going to do. And then you get to a point where you start to realize where like, oh, this actually isn't as beneficial as I thought, and now it's already kind of its own egregore within your matrix, and now you almost have to try to unwind that because you've gone too far into one particular direction or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like that's what I worry about as far as like, I'm just speaking my mind, but there are people that are listening that have their own world going on. Like, you know what I mean? I don't underestimate that. I don't downplay that because even people that are, religious, like I'm starting to look at that in a different light as well. Like I used to be like, oh, I don't know. I used to look at that as like, it seemed like uneducated almost. And then see, I'm afraid to say that because I feel like that's going to offend somebody that maybe came from a religious,
I mean, I usually just call them lazy.
Lens.
But we have both of our things.
but yeah, even that, I feel like, they have their logical mind, and for them that information worked and they let it pass through, and now it's kind of how they live their life, and it works and it keeps them in, in line, it keeps them in check, or whatever terminology you want to use for that.
It's their anchor.
Like their anchor. It's the thing that they can rest their hat on, because no matter what's going on over here or how bad they're feeling, they have that. And it's like, I get it. I understand now, much better than I used to. Now if they can just stop judging us so much, then it'll be really good, but no, I get it. You know what I mean? Like we all have our own reality and things that we're going through. And so I think that's why I worry about it a little bit, because it's like, man, that's people's lives, and I don't want to be the one thing that they hear that day that like made them feel a little too uncomfortable or angry or upset, or you know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm trying to do.
But isn't that also kind of like reflecting the mirror up against them?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if anything, they're now going to do a little bit more research to deepen their understanding. So it's always a net positive in either way, because if you're ruffling, and that was the way that it always was with me and Jacob. The reason why I got into this was because I was always trying to prove him wrong. Everything that he said ruffled my feathers. And so, but it was always a net positive because I wouldn't have gotten to even this point in my understanding about spirituality if it wasn't for him ruffling my feathers. So that's kind of the way I like to look at it. And yeah, you don't want to be super abrasive or brash or anything like that.
Which,
you definitely
I don't think we are.
You definitely don't want to be too cocky or too sure, which literally
I feel like that's impossible.
Our catchphrase is, you don't know what you don't know, so we're never too sure about anything.
Absolutely. That is another thing too. It's like it's very hard to say anything with confidence. Because there are a lot of things that I felt like I believed absolutely. Like no matter what, you couldn't tell me that it wasn't that. But now I'm looking at it like, oh, like there are certain things that I absolutely believed that science, the people that are, figuring all that out, they don't even know for sure.
No.
So it's like I can't know anything then. And like sure there are things that I know for sure, at least for my matrix or my reality, but dude, saying anything with absolute certainty is getting harder and harder these days.
There's one thing that I personally, and I'm open to being wrong, but one thing that I can say for certainty from my position, from where I'm at in my journey, one thing that I absolutely can say with total certainty is that we are consciousness. There is a field that is always around us that is also conscious. And by tuning in to the correct frequency will allow you to receive whatever information you're really searching for. And that is why I was able to experience optimistic banks in that moment, because number one, I set an intention to be able to talk or be able to experience a spirit guide, but I also allowed my body to go into a frequency that would open up that door to perceive that information in the first place. And I think that to me is hammered into my mind as absolute. And so, yeah, even whenever she was talking about like, whenever I hear about people on the other side, it's always happy. It's always like they're here to help us and all this kind of stuff. That clicks in my mind. That makes sense in my mind because they don't have to deal with having a body. They don't have to deal with going to work or raising kids or cleaning the dishes or any of this other bullshit. They're free. And whenever I think of something free, it may like what my mind connects to with that, I see it as orbs. You know why? Because it looks like pure consciousness to me. And whatever that is, whatever pure consciousness is, I feel like it's being visualized in the sky at night whenever we see the orbs. And also what even resonates that is the most free, because they're flying, and flying is the most free fucking thing you can do.
Right. Yeah. It's the best. Yeah,
and so it's just like tiny little dots that you're trying to connect with what you know to be certain of what you believe, and trying to expand upon that. And that's the shit that I like doing.
Absolutely. If for whatever reason I get some type of information and it's the ultimate truth, I will definitely let you guys know about it for sure. But as far as I know, like I don't even know what the truth is and what that would even look like. Like I can get down with the consciousness and all of that, and like I feel like that probably is true. I just don't know what it looks like. I don't know, and maybe we could never know what the model of what that would be, but I feel like as far as like my absolute truth and understanding of what this all is, I'm still putting the pieces together. So I'm on the journey just like everybody else, and so got to give myself a little more credit, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it's good to I think that it's never a bad thing to question what you believe, because whenever you're questioning it, you're only giving, whenever you do get to that point where you absolutely believe something, you're only giving it that much more validity because you questioned it 6 ways to fucking Sunday already.
Right.
Right. And so
still
now
come back to it.
Way more clear because you've already asked all the questions and you already got all the confirmations and you arrived here.
Right.
And that's kind of where I am with just even the consciousness thing. So there's something that I want to do, but first, the people that we were talking about with the fucking hats, so silly, they're called the King's Guard or the Queen's Guard.
Oh,
that's all they're called.
It was simpler than we thought, right?
Depending on who's in charge. And the hats that they use are actually called bearskins, and they were adopted in 1815. And dude, those hats are 18 inches tall.
Good God.
And they're made of the fur of Canadian black bears.
That's cool. Huh. I had no idea.
Which makes sense because I believe that Canada is under British royalty. Like they use British currency and all that shit.
Oh, right. That's a trip.
Pretty cool.
That's
the
cool.
more you know. But first, before we even let this go, I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna shuffle some cards. I'm gonna pull one for you.
Do it. Dude.
Let me before I even pull one, give me a direct question that you want to know. Be as specific as you want. I don't even care what it is, but whatever is going to help you crawl up out of this funk that your left brain has put you in.
Okay, let me think. Give me a minute.
All right.
You know, what's funny is like, I think one of the questions that I was thinking of was kind of the same thing. I feel like it's hard for us to see from the inside what we have to offer, you know, and so I feel like we're doing things, you know, like with this show, for example, you know, and we show up, we record, we speak our mind, you know, and sometimes we'll get done recording, and I'm like, man, I feel like I had nothing to offer. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, uh, what fruits were there from me even having a microphone? You know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm in that state of like, man, I don't know anything. So who am I to even, try to be insightful on things that I don't even know shit about? And so when it comes to like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I, you know, that was perfect. The message that you got already from Banks, you know, because it's like, it's so much harder to see what it is that you provide or what people get out of you, you know, from this perspective. And so knowing that for sure is pretty fucking awesome. You know, that you're always on the right path. And I think that is super important to understand. You know, because sometimes I feel like you can get so caught up in making everything so serious, and everything is like a life or death situation. And it's like, I think we just take everything a little too seriously, man. Instead of just letting things roll and not trying not to be too attached to things. What card did you get?
I shit you not, dude. It is.
Is it my card?
It is. All right. So I'm not going to lie. Whenever you were asking, I thought, all right, well, now that I know, in my mind, I accept that Banks is my guide. I don't need any more proof of that, right?
Right.
I asked Banks because he knows you and he is listening to you in this context. Give Sean the card that he needs right now.
Perfect.
And I got the moon card.
Oh, okay. All right. Love it.
The moon illuminates what has been hidden, bringing it into the light and asking you to listen to your intuitive messages. The moon card is an invitation to confront your shadow self or the dark elements of your essential being that are often suppressed. Your shadow self is not to be feared, but rather embraced and integrated. Doing this allows you to heal what you deem unlovable or unacceptable in yourself.
That's deep, dude.
On this card, we see a coyote and a dog howling at the full moon, symbolizing our discomfort with duality and the unknown. The coyote is the wild self, while the dog represents our domesticated self. That's almost left brain, right brain right there.
Absolutely.
A crawfish, it says crayfish. We live in the South.
Not going to say
it's
that.
It's a crawfish. Right. All right.
All right.
A crawfish in the river symbolizes the quest for the meaning of life, looking deeper, and feelings of dissatisfaction with living a surface-level existence. The moon is positioned between the two towers, first shown on the death card, representing the conscious and the unconscious. Under the light of the moon, all is revealed. This includes the messages received in dreams and through intuition. What is revealed may show you where you have been deceived, most likely by your own perceptions. It is time to see the truth and situations clearly.
Perfect, man.
Dude.
I appreciate that.
Banks, come through.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
The spiritual message is, now is your time to examine your self-deception, fear, and shame by working with your shadow self. Exploring psychic development, and dream work can help you reconnect to aspects of your inner self that have been hidden. You are evolving and expanding your consciousness on your spiritual path.
Interesting. Dude, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Don't thank me. Thank Banks.
Thank you, Banksy.
Thanks.
I needed that.
Love you.
For sure.
Wow.
It's always self-inflicted. You know, that's what I've come to find out. It's always, you know what I'm saying? You know where it's coming from.
Oh, man.
And, yeah, man, that was great. I needed that.
That was phenomenal. Man, there couldn't have been a better card.
I don't think so. No.
That's awesome.
Because I already know where where a lot of that comes from, like it's coming from me, you know what I mean? Like I'm projecting certain things and I'm not allowing certain things. And of course, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you always got to go and deal with the shadow. It's one of those things nobody wants to have to deal with. And I understand this, but yeah, dude.
It's usually not a whole lot of fun, but man, the benefit of going through it, dealing with it, observing it, and then integrating it into your life now that it is not any longer being used as a crutch or a dark, shadowy place that you don't want to venture off into. Like, we can talk about all these things, but not that part. I'm not ready for that. Like, just go beyond that part.
Absolutely.
And yeah, man, it's pretty interesting. And the way I kind of see it, dude, I'm gonna be real. I was just thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about the moon and, symbolically or esoterically what it could mean, like in my own way of understanding, is that you think about it, the moon is the perfect illustration of what shadow work would look like. Because
what's reflected and what's in the shadows,
dude,
right?
because it's already, everything is dark except for this fucking giant spotlight in the sky. Like the sun, it illuminates everything that is within that path of the sun. But the moon, it doesn't illuminate the rest of the sky like the sun does.
Right.
But what it does do is that it illuminates just enough, especially a full moon, just enough to be able to see enough to maneuver. And that's where you go when you do shadow work is you see just enough to maneuver in there.
Shed some light on the situation, dude.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah, that was perfect, man. Damn.
We're going places.
I didn't know we were going that deep, man, but I appreciate it. I'm glad we did.
We're breaking barriers.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's funny when you go into, doing your shadow work and you start thinking about, like, let's say you find something that you struggle with or that you're struggling with currently, right? And then you think back to moments in your life, maybe when you were young, and you're like, oh, and then you see something playing out and you're like, that's probably one of the things that caused this certain aspect of me to be who I am. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. And so I've just been living that illusion from that point until now, and it's like, none of it's real. It's all make believe.
If you think about it, the last time you were a completely open sponge was when you were about 7 or 8 years old, and everything from that moment on has been learning to build barriers so that you don't make the same mistake you did whenever you were the fool getting ready to walk off the cliff. And it's like, and sometimes those barriers that we build are just to protect ourselves. It's not actually going to allow us to walk off a cliff. You know what I mean? And it's like, we got to go in there and, because those barriers were put up at such a young age, we didn't fucking know if they were good barriers or bad barriers, but in the moment felt right, Now
we don't even see the barriers. It's just part of the infrastructure that is the matrix of your own consciousness or whatever you want to call it. It's like, it's been there so long, it's now become permanent almost. You know what I mean? It's hard to even find them.
Yeah.
And
so it's like, our nose is on our face, right? And we, it is always in our vision, but we never think of it. We never
mentioned it. And now I'm noticing it.
It's like, I know, I feel like I have a larger nose than I want, but like, I don't think about it and I don't even perceive it most of the time, but it is something that our mind does because it built that barrier, because it's like, all right, this nose is a part of my face. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to, get in my way or anything like that. Let me look beyond it.
Filter it out.
And I think that is that's a perfect, almost like allegory of what we're talking about with the shadow work, is that you don't even know that you built that barrier because your mind is so far beyond it,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Yes.
Damn.
We're breaking through.
This is why we do this,
Yes. Hell yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, the initiates, we love you, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Imagine what would have happened if we hadn't attracted the magic we had back when we couldn't fathom. Life is a fantasy, not with the vanity, not the way it was back then. So I grab my pen and write it down like a scripture. Mr. Mystic, making hits for the misfits. The show where you don't know what you don't know when it's on again with Sean and Jonathan. Yeah.